What's up, everybody? What's up? Everybody's in the room right now. Sorry for my tardiness. What's going on with you today, Coop? Been a crazy day, right? Got a lot going on.
Yeah.
What's up, everybody? What's up?
we got an echo here. We got everybody in the room. Shout out to everybody in the room. Appreciate y'all being with us. A2HH Live on a Wednesday. Without no further ado, might as well just go ahead and get into the subject since I was a little bit behind.
Yes.
Is there something that happened today? Yeah, we got the track list. We got the KD3 track list. It's up here on the screen. Ghetto Reporter. First song on the album. You know what? Let me ask you this, because I know we ask people this on According to Hip Hop. Based on the titles, what song are you looking forward to hearing? Thumbs up in the chat, y'all. We got to get everybody in here.
I will tell you Michael and Quincy just because that was the title that threw me off the most. It made me think when I first saw this track list that it might not be the track list. And I'll get to some of those thoughts about that momentarily, I think.
Well, I didn't see any of those. Did I freeze on your end?
You did. You went out. I can't see you right now.
Okay, let me check. Let me fix this real quick. Obviously, we're going to have some technical difficulties. Can't nothing go smooth in a show like this, right? Okay. Do you see me now?
Very problematic. Fortuitous.
Yeah. Do you see me now?
Yeah, I can see you fine.
All right. If I go out again, I'll just fix it. But okay, you said Michael and Quincy. So you were getting some of those track lists that weren't official? Because I didn't see any of those.
I got one.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did it have any of the songs that we see here on this final one?
No, it's this track list.
Okay, so it's this track list.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Okay.
I think you froze up on us again.
Oh my God. Sorry about that.
It's that Illuminati. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, of course.
It is. You know what time it is. There we go. I can see you now.
You see me now? I don't think the people see me right now. We'll see.
No. Yeah, the people can see you.
Can they? I don't.
Yeah.
I don't see it on my screen. Okay, you see me on your screen?
Mm-hmm. You're frozen on this side, but you're about to come back through in a minute, I imagine. Obviously, I'm a little delayed.
Let's see. Let me try this again. Because usually what I see on my screen is live. Okay, I see myself now.
Okay.
Hopefully this lasts, and then it froze again. My God. Bear with us, guys. Jeez. We got a super chat here from Smile and Wave. He says, look forward to the KD3 listening party. Yes, we're about to give some details on that, too. That is going to be tomorrow night. That's going to be Eastern Standard Time. I saw somebody ask what time zone it was. So it's definitely going to be Eastern Standard Time. And sorry about these people saying they don't see me. Go ahead and speak to the track list while I figure this out.
Well, let's go over some of the track list and I'll tell you what. So I got this track list now. I'll tell you what. The first thing is that, and this is from the chat that I was in with the source and some other people who follow us as well, Mike. We heard that it was 15 songs that he did. And actually, I looked at it wrong, and that's part of the reason why I thought that the list was fake, because when I was counting up the songs, I was like, this is 16 songs in a bonus track. I was like, I heard it was only going to be 15 songs. But then I was realizing I didn't really look at it. There's an interlude on here.
Okay.
So it is 15 songs in a bonus record. And that's when I was like, oh, okay. I missed that. That's my fault. That's just fatigue. That's just one of those clerical errors. That's one of those reasons that you send shit to the editor for final look over, and a lot of the time it's not even about it's about the little things. You went out again. Okay. But I'm gonna keep on going.
I'm fix it.
I think it's funny. I think the tracks that people want to hear come from a place of, I think, what they want to hear from him. And so I'll tell you that it's I think people want to hear Once a Man and Twice a Child, because that sounds like a song that would be a classic Nas song. You went out again.
That's cool. Keep going.
Yeah, I think people are obviously looking at Thun because that's that QB slang, and is obviously referencing possibly Thun and Kiko. You remember Thun and Kiko off the Realness with Mega?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know now that like that's kind of where some of the riff with Nas and P too. You know what I'm saying? So it's like maybe he's speaking on that situation and how it really unfolded from his perspective, kind of like how he did with Death Row East.
Okay.
Allah, you feel me?
Yeah, which is always interesting content, when he digs deep like that and gives us information that we weren't privy to otherwise.
Correct. So it'd be interesting to hear it from his perspective, possibly. So those are the songs that I think people like just upon first glance would want to see. But I'll tell you what, I'm interested in the stuff that sounds more bold to me, which really isn't typical of him. But I'm gonna go back. Like I realized something that the source was just telling me a couple of hours ago on the thread, and it's like, oh, Mike, I think he's about to flex his muscle on this album.
What do you mean?
You know what I think we're about to get like real GOAT talk out of him. Like the way that we laud, the way like Biggie and Jay talk, I think we're about to get that type of talk game out of him on this album, except for it's going to be like from Nas's perspective, but it's going to be like him touting his shit. Because it's like when I thought about Ghetto Reporter, I'm going to tell you the first thing that I thought. I thought about that line off the Firm album, the hardcore remake, when he said, only bad quarters, not a thing shorter than a dime, rhyme like a crime scene reporter. And when he said that, I was like, that kind of sums up his style rather nicely. I wouldn't be surprised if that same bar got sampled to start off this album or is mixed in there, because that kind of sums up his style. He's never the type of guy to make records that sum up his style and what his style does on record. And when you look at some of these songs, they appear to do that. And that's what I think is enticing about this. Like his songs usually don't sound like titles, don't sound like Ghetto Reporter, Legit, WTF, SMH. I'm on fire.
Think about that. I'm interested to hear I'm on fire.
Me too.
Ghetto Reporter, it really stands out to me. 30, I'm not sure what he means by that, but I'm interested to hear that. Until My Last Breath, the bonus. Don't shoot.
I think Recession Proof is fascinating.
I think Don't Shoot Until My Last Breath being the last two is interesting.
I think Beef, he might be mocking how like today's rappers beef. Like, I don't even think it's what people think it's going to be. I think he might actually be like kind of like maybe poking kind of at how beef takes place today, modern day, as opposed to what he had to deal with, a la a Prodigy beef, a Jay-Z beef, a Tupac beef, a Biggie beef, a 50 beef, a Cameron beef.
Kind of like if he took on like that whole Every Day a Star is Born type of mentality where it's like you're going through like chronologically and going through it like with his individual ones, that could be epic right there. Let me get to some of the super chats real quick. Yeah. I think that all our technical issues may be resolved, so we can go ahead and get in the rhythm of the show right here. 36 Chambers says, can we get another link for the listening party? Yes, the listening party link is at the top of the chat. I think it's pinned to the top of the chat. And like I said, it's going to be tomorrow night, midnight, Eastern Standard Time, 11:11. I know that can be confusing, but it's going to be actually Thursday night, 11:59, just say, right?
Hold on, Mike, I would post the link again because I don't think I see it either right now.
You don't see it? Okay.
No.
Okay, I'll post it again. I got it right here. Andrew Green with the super chat says, peace, do y'all think, in fact, it's no features on KD3 or credits are just hidden? And which would you prefer? I'm good because Nas is the focus. I'm sorry. He says, and which would you prefer? Oh yeah, I'm good because Nas is the focus. I think they're gonna be features. I think that they're probably gonna reveal the features maybe sometime tomorrow. I have no type of inside information on that, but that's just my guess. But would I prefer just him taking it a solo mission or features? I would prefer a few features, not a lot, but just maybe like Good 3. What do you think on that, Coop? Well, you got inside information, so you can't answer that, I guess.
I just don't think I'm getting my Raekwon feature. I'm sorry, Mike. Like, I'm real selfish. I don't think I'm getting my Raekwon feature, and that's really all I have to say about that. And I don't think. I mean, the way that it's looking to me is it's like, do not be surprised if Nas is the only rapping that you hear on here. But what I would also submit to you is that, like, well, nobody raps by himself like as much as he does. That's like at the level that he's at, except for like maybe Scarface.
No,
you know
right.
what I'm saying? It's not like hearing Nas by himself is like something new unto himself. It's not like he's somebody who's made a career out of doing features with people.
You know, Cube's kind of like that too. In Cube's prime, he didn't have like a lot of people or anybody on his records. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you even look at, let's look at his seminal records that people hold in highest regard. Well, Illmatic has one guest appearance.
Yeah.
It was written literally. Here are the people on it was written. It's like he literally damn near kept it in his hood or in his group. Well, there's Cormega. There's Foxy Brown. There's AZ. That all happened
all
on
one song. Yeah.
There's Mobb Deep on another song. And there's Foxy and Havoc, respectively, doing hook work on other records. That's very minimal for an album that's 14, 13 tracks deep. That's what I'm saying. So, and then you look at something like, well, the Lost Tapes. It's like, well, how many guest appearances are on the Lost Tapes, Mike? Pretty certain that's all Nas, right?
Yeah.
How many guest appearances are on Stillmatic, Mike? Because I'm pretty certain it's just
AZ.
Yeah. Feature. And
yeah.
I feel like who's that at the end? No. Who's on My Country? Is that Lake?
Mm-hmm. You got, Braveheart's on Braveheart Party and Mary J. Blige.
No, I just mean bar work, Mike. We're talking bar work.
Yeah. No, you're right. He's taken on a lot of these undertakings on his own.
Even look at some of like the less popular albums. Look at like a Hip Hop Is Dead or the End album.
Yeah.
Like on the End album, I think The Game and Busta Rhymes are the only people who make that album, correct?
Mm-hmm.
As far as like MCs, yeah. So this isn't like uncommon. The Nasir project, it has one Kanye verse, and like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like you should be used to hearing Nas by himself. Life Is Good, Mike.
Yeah.
Life Is Good is pretty much a solo mission, isn't it? I'm trying to think like who else got bar work on Life Is Good, Mike?
What a writer. He's a writer's writer.
That's what I mean. He's a real writer. Like if rap didn't exist and this was another time, he would still be like prolifically like highly regarded, like in whatever era you would place him. He's one of those like transcendent players. It's like, well, how would LeBron play against him? Well, it doesn't matter. Like LeBron would play good against anybody, like the same way Mike would, the same way Shaq would, the same way Bird, Matt. You know what I mean? When you're transcendent, it really don't matter.
I don't say this to disrespect anybody, but I think he is hip hop's best writer.
Oh yeah.
Maybe not quote unquote songwriter. I mean, I guess you could have a whole lot of different debates about that. But if we're just talking about writing rhymes, he's the best.
No, I think Mike, I think the catalog is getting to the point that you can make like he's been our best writer, like from a like what you prolifically want a writer to do and be standpoint. Like, but he is like that's what I mean. The beautiful thing about like his career, pretty much from Life Is Good on, is the good song maker he's become. It's like you're not gonna hear The World Is Yours or Made You Look Again.
I saw Illmatic trending on Twitter, and I think that is people trying to find a way to throw this album back into the lexicon and the consciousness to get in the way of this release. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. We're gonna speak to all of those things too, because I have some notes and I just kind of like want to point out some things like as we kind of like run this down and like start counting down.
Oh, we're gonna get to it. We're gonna get to it. It's gonna be a very eventful 3-day run. CJ Kidd with the super chat says, so this KD3 effort is featureless. We don't know. We'll see. It's what it looks like for now. Shyster30 says, Nas hit y'all in the IG story. It'll be with you guys midnight. Bless up, guys. Oh, Nas put it in the story too? I don't know. Because I know Mass Appeal reached out to the page, and shout out to them. They gave us the track list, I want to say minutes before he put it out there and was like, they wanted to shoot it to us first. And good looking out, Mass Appeal. I'm
Hold
looking
on,
forward to
hold
hearing
on,
it.
Mike. That's not like that's the source putting that together, and even like putting that in Mass Appeal's hands. So like the source is the one.
Well, yeah, shout out to her too
Yeah,
as well.
shout out to Mass Appeal, but like Mike, behind the scenes, the source like made some moves for us to make sure that even happened, and like so shout out to her. Like she's solid as a motherfucker to me right now, Mike, because it's like she didn't even have to make that move. You know what I'm saying? Quite frankly, you know what I mean? Like it didn't necessarily behoove her at all to do that because we had already, you know what I mean, planned the streaming party out and decided that we was gonna run it anyway. But it's like the fact that she still like put that in play for us is super major. So shout out to her for being solid. Shout out to Mass Appeal for hitting us up. Shout out to Hit Boy for the retweet.
Yeah, definitely. Hit Boy's been showing love too. Look, I'm looking forward to hearing the music. 36 Chambers with the super chat says Rap Roundtable addressed being excited for KD3 and how Magic is a 5 mic album. Will more publications will pick up on this due to the rollout? We'll see. I mean, I think everybody's looking and everybody's paying attention and watching carefully. And like I said, the music's going to speak for itself. And as far as my opinion, once the music drops and the people talk about it, we talk about it with the people, I think people are going to do the right thing.
Well, well, that's one of the things that I want to talk about. So tell me where we're going with this show or how you want to start unpacking these things. Because there's a variety of ways.
It is. Let me go through the super chats real quick and then we can kind of, decide from there. Shyster30 says, Nas is in a serious mode right now. With the face on the back says it all. Very serious. We got Andre says 30 might be a 27 Summers Part 2. Very good observation. I see that.
That's possible.
I can see that because, I think it puts him around, 92. 30 years right now.
I mean, Breaking Adams is the verse on Live at the Barbecue is 91. So, I mean, I think it got released like late 91. So this would like line up like, he can say, 3 decades in halftime. Or this might have been around the time halftime got
right,
done.
because halftime's 92.
Yeah.
So, that's where I was starting. But, you're right. You can go even before that. Jay Short with the super chat says, To My Last Breath sounds like the title of his last song of his career. That's the one thing that stuck out. That stuck out for me too. It's like my first song type thing.
Well, no, there's just something about the look and the feel and the vibe to this that has a finality to it. I think the series is probably over. It kind of feels that way. I think they kind of just,
Just epic, man.
I think how Nas feels about Hit Boy, he's just like, no, fuck it. Like, just give me him and we can go and make something better than all 3 of the previous ones without anybody else. I think their mission might have just been like, you want to know, I know we got all this, but let's just maybe hold that for Lost Tapes 3. And you and me, let's go get the job done. Like old school style, like Eric B. and Rakim style, like Cool G Rap and DJ Polo style.
Yeah.
Like old school Guru and Premier. You know what I'm saying? Like, no. You and me, we just gonna go get the job done. And that's what I mean. So look at the titles. This is old school flex and shit. Ghetto Reporter, Legit, Thun, Michael and Quincy, Beef, Don't Shoot, I'm on Fire. That sounds like an album Boogie Down Productions would have put together, Mike. Like that sounds like the way KRS-One used to talk. Like there's something like kind of bold about the titles and the sentiment.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be heavy.
Yeah, so I think it's like that, and it's like, I think I don't know, Mike. There's something about all this. Even talking to the source, that makes me feel like both Hit and Nas feel slighted still. You feel me?
And shout out to you and your great journalism work for connecting with the source and being able to keep us updated on the progress of this as it was evolving, and especially the streaming part of it too, which we're gonna get to in a minute. But great work, man.
I haven't even been like Mike. There's so much shit you don't know. One.
I like being surprised, man.
Right.
Andrell Green with the super chat says, "Hit Boy tweeted, it's dope to stand on your own too. That says a lot, Cryptic.
Right.
Maybe they felt like they didn't need any help this go around.
Right. It feels that way. That's what I mean. Is like there's there's been a tone that the source has had the whole time that I have that I haven't really spoke to, and the tone has been like that of feeling slighted slightly. You feel me?
Yeah, magic will make you feel slighted.
Right. It's like, no, there's been some slight in this from the tone. Like that's what I mean. It's like when you're a journalist, Mike, you're supposed to like get in tune with like people's vibes and like understand what people is really like trying to tell you too. Like from the way they're trying to tell it to you too. And so a lot of the information that I've got has almost been like, first of all, I know how observant they are and how much more in tune they are than it seems like people who have made it to the points that they have respectively in their careers have. It lets you know that they're still kind of in tune. I think a lot of that is Hit Boy's influence, and that is why you keep things young and fresh, because it says a younger man's game in hip hop. I think Nas is understanding that as well. But there has been this like slighted overtone to it, I feel like at times, not all the time, but at times when talking about certain things, specifically, like Mike, that's the reason that I picked up the numbers, because that's where I felt the slight. That's where it's like, as a journalist, I was like, that's the touchy point. You don't touch the smooth shit, you touch the rough shit.
Yeah.
You feel me? I was like, that's a little groove right there. When she talks about that, the tone different. When we talk about the media, the tone different. Like this other shit kind of cool and we can make stories out of it and I can run with it. Oh, but that shit right there, touchy. I'm like, oh, yeah.
36 Chambers with the super chat says, after hearing features like Eminem and ASAP on the past few albums, does it hurt him if KD3 has none from a streaming standpoint? Well, I will say that. I think from a streaming standpoint, I think features could help. But from an artistic standpoint, I could see where you're coming from, where this would be like more of a lost tape magic thing.
Well, what if they knew this all along, Mike? Like, what if they knew that they were really just going to go at it dolo, really like last go around? And part of the reason why even the source reached out kind of and like connected with me and was willing to deal with me and talk about some things is because, well, they still got to cover some gaps and some bases, even if they want to do things a certain way. And so maybe elevating the consciousness and the education and the information of the audience helps supplement some of the things that they may not be doing that we're going to talk about. Like there's been no real official single release. Okay.
That's different too, because there were singles for the two previous KDs.
Correct. So maybe the approach and the motive has been different. And this is what I mean about the tone and it feeling and sounding old school. Well, not to be funny, Mike, but it's like they could have reached out to anybody and connected dots with anybody. And, you know, there are publications that, quite frankly, and I've said this to the source, well, they're not as good as us. They're just bigger than us, but they could have reached out to those entities and pumped them, but they pumped us instead. There's something grassroots and old school and hip hop about it. That's what I mean is like maybe the whole campaign behind this is to do it the old school way. It's like, no, like this is Nas and Hit Boy. Have you heard the last 3 albums? Like spread the word like wildfire, like the grassroots old school kind of way. It's like, oh, they don't understand the grassroots way to create the groundswell. Well, that's where the education and the information about the streaming comes in. So maybe the marketing device is like making it grassroots in a digital age, like updating the formula like I've been talking about.
Well, you know, I'm a firm believer that things come back around, right? I think that like the old school way of doing things in hip hop where, you know, people were just basically pulling up to maybe clubs or whatever and you know, pulling up the radio or Stretch Armstrong and shit like that, freestyling, and that was their biggest level of promotion. And the promotion was more so word of mouth, like, yo, did you hear such and such freestyle on Stretch and Bobito's show the other night? Those type of things, the allure, it goes a long way. And I think that the level of engagement that we have with the people and the fact that we're talking to the people, it fits right in with those things. This is a viral society we're living in where you put out something yesterday, and if it goes crazy on the internet 3 days later, people are like, man, I've seen that. That's old. But conversations build things up.
Well, what I will tell you is that you want to go ahead and have this conversation now, because this is a media conversation and about the media's role, even in all this, and even in reaching out to us and me building the relationship. I feel like.
Well, hold that thought. Let me get to these super chats and we'll jump into that. CJ Kid with the super chat says, with no features, this is looking more like Step in the Arena than Moment of Truth. Cool. We got Man there with the super chat said, who won the PE versus Eric B and Rakim matchup? We're going to get to that in a second, too. Shyster30 says, "To My Last Breath" sounds like a concept song of himself being the benchmark in hip hop. Dame252 says, "What are the possible street records?" I'm on fire. Michael Williams with the super chat says, "A poster on Reddit who knew about a poster on Reddit who knew about Magic a week in advance and leaked the KD3 track list 2 days ago, heard it and confirmed that there are no features." Okay. So sounds like there are no features until proven otherwise. Andrew Green says, "Have y'all heard the bonus track version of Freddie's album? Do you think those 5 extra tracks are going to make it harder for KD3 to pass that album of the year mark?"
Is Black Illuminati on there?
I haven't checked it out. See, I need to go check that out. We'll check that out. And then we'll be able to make an answer about that definitely Friday. Nas the GOAT says, "Do y'all think Nas will retire after this album?" I think he's going to lay low for a minute. But I think if you lay low for a minute at this stage, I guess that is retirement, right?
I think he gets to do whatever he wants.
Yeah. I mean, he has the best catalog in hip-hop at this point.
Sure.
Peter Parks at the super chat says, "The New Yorker wrote a piece about Magic, and it was good. Good. Shout out to the New Yorker for that."
When did they do that?
Out too. Right. Did they do it when it came out? They just did it. Jay Short says, "This feels like the end. I hate to say it. It does feel like the end. But it's fine, though. It's like, I'd rather it this way. I'd rather it this way than the Outcast way. And I say that respectfully. But you know what I mean? Like, just disappear.
When we have, like, the streaming portion of this conversation, we're going to talk about, delve more into the other side. And I spoke of it briefly on the last show about, like, why this is important, because we're just going to get into it. So I'm going to tell you what. Do you mind if I go?
Hold on, let me finish these super chats. We only got a couple more. Xavier Logistics says, "When it's said and done, KD3 is the 3P. Magic is the Olympic gold medal." Nice way to put it. Shyster30 says, "Ninjas in their feelings posting Grammys. Nas undisputed GOAT. Guru put it up and Khaled reposted it." Yeah, he's talking about Jay-Z posting a whole bunch of his, well, not a whole bunch of his Grammys, all of his Grammys, and Khaled put it up. Said Hove did. NDU Jam says, "I think that there are some features on the album. He hid them intentionally." I remember Kweli mentioning that he was supposed to be on the Black Star album too. Okay. I only got a couple more super chats, Coop, and we're going to get to it. Melvin Wright says, "There wasn't a single for KD2. Rare dropped the night of the release." Okay. I thought Rare was the single. LP with the super chat says, "No features make sense. Last 3 albums, all of them had them, yet the numbers were about the same. Big Sean, Dirk, Pat, Eminem. Verses can't be cheap. Probably think it makes sense to just do it alone for the same number." Makes sense. That makes economical sense. Lucien, son of Africa, says, "Haitians are fighting economic freedom. The West. Where's the love from Black America, French, and Canadians? We got love for you, man. We got love." Leroy Green says, "Sincerely, hope KD3 makes me reconsider Jay's GOAT status. If so, y'all tell me what champagne you want." Mr. D says, "If Nas don't acknowledge Ye or Kyrie, it's a big disappointment." LP says, Y'all see Hip Hop DX post on Nas. They feeling the heat. I bet they are. Jadarian says, if you two are going to start dedicated Wednesday shows to lesser known artists, please check out Vel 9's album, Trophy Wife. Okay. Yeah, and we're going to do that. It's just always something big that pops up that we just can't ignore. Sean says, Ghetto Reporter gives me Stillmatic intro vibes, bro. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one too. Daryl Baxter says, Conway announced Nas is on his album. And
I
now,
saw that too.
Okay. All right, go ahead. We were going to talk about media, right?
Well, what I would tell you, like for all of us that are sitting here today, there's a good portion of you who are sitting here today, and it's because I want you to follow the first story that kind of got you here and got you to According to Hip Hop. A lot of people started following According to Hip Hop because what, Mike? We started highlighting and pointing out how the media has unfairly been castigating and treating Nas for quite some time about a variety of things.
Correct.
Most of them not factually correct or unfounded, as in about 75 to 85% of it.
He's the worst beat picker in hip hop. Which,
unfounded.
You know, that right there.
Falsified. How the fuck can you be rhyming over DJ Premier and Pete Rock and Q-Tip and Salah Remy and
Listen, man, you could pull a pack of 20 of Nas's beats, and those are like freestyle anthem beats. Like, how many people you heard rhyme over Nas's like? That's his song.
Uchi Wally, Made You Look.
Yeah. Those are his songs.
Those are his records. Yeah, you know whose records those are, right?
It's not a lot of people that you could pull 20 beats from their catalog and say, yo, I want to rhyme on this. It's not
what I keep telling you, Mike, is the beautiful thing about his 20 is I bet you his 20 has the most variety of producers of anybody else, too.
I agree.
That's what I mean. It would be some of everybody in there in the 20. Like Large Pro would be in there. Preem would be in there. Q-Tip would be in there. You know what I'm saying? Salah Remy would be in there.
Trackmasters.
Hit
you
Boy.
Know, at the end of the day, man, I want to say this because I know I was real critical on this initially as a hip-hop fan and as a Nas fan. Trackmasters did some really good work with Nas. I think that the only problem with it was the fact that it was right after he had just worked with Premier, Pete Rock, Q-Tip, and Large Professor. And I think that just the tone of that previous effort, and when Trackmasters came and did what they were doing, it got overshadowed and got underappreciated, I would say. But Trackmasters did some good work for Nas. And you look at the work that they did with other people, I would have to rank the work they did with Nas right up there with slightly behind LL. I think they did better work with Nas than they did with Jay. In my opinion. Yeah.
I mean, okay, so what tracks did they actually do? Like, because that's what I'm saying. It's like, because I want you to think about this when I say this. It's like, well, the shit that you remember it was written for, like, outside of the message, I'm not sure if they did the beat to that. Because Primo's I Gave You Power, okay? Havoc is the setup in live nigga rap.
They did If I Ruled the World. I think
so
they did.
If you want to say that they gave him his commercial viability,
well, I mean, it's not a bad record. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a huge fan. Yeah. So they did good work.
Like, how many niggas on like a chart type of song and talking about I'd open every cell in Attica, send them to Africa? Like, no. Like it's a dope record.
Yeah, they did Street Dreams. I believe they did. I believe they did Shootouts too.
Now, okay, I'll give them Shootouts. Okay.
They did Affirmative Action as well.
Okay, I'll give them Shootouts and Affirmative Action.
They did Black Girl Lost.
Don't say that. See how you were winning, and then you.
But I'm just saying. Back. I mean, people like Black Girl Lost, and they may watch.
The content and subject matter is brilliant. The content and subject matter is brilliant, Mike. The bar work is extensive and heavy and intricate. That beat is not good.
CJ Q with the super chat says,
like, we're talking about the production side of things, right?
He's just talking about the beat alone. You're not going to pull that beat out and freestyle over it.
But here's the problem with it, Mike. It's like when you hear, and this is around the time, you have to understand, it's 1996. When you're hearing Nas rap over, who did Take It in Blood in Silent Murder?
Silent Murder was done by Live Squad.
And who did Take It in Blood? Yeah. Did LES do Take It in Blood?
Let's see. Live Squad again.
Shout out to Live Squad. Well, I'll tell you the problem with track masters getting their credit. It looks like they just did the commercial stuff, Mike. That's what I'm saying. It's just like, well, they didn't do Take It in Blood. They didn't do Solid Murder.
They did shootouts.
They didn't do Live Nigga Rap. They didn't do I Gave You Power. They didn't give them none of the street shit.
They gave them shootouts.
I
give them that. CJ Kid with the super chat says, also RIP to Tame One and Hurricane G. Did y'all hear your thoughts on those two yet? Of course we heard. Rest in peace to them. You know, and prayers up to their family. Redman, you know, just off the top of my head when I hear both of those names is the first person that jumped in my mind. You know, I love what him and Hurricane G used to do together, Hit Squad. And Tame One is Redman's cousin, so.
Saddened by both losses, Mike. It just seems like it'd be hard to keep track of the tally sometimes. It's like since we've been doing this podcast, it feels like we are doing like our own little condolences and memories and RIPs like too often when it comes to this. I still haven't even had time to really like dig in and find out what happened respectively in both cases.
Right.
Yes, just truthfully speaking.
Me either, but I'm gonna dig into that.
I want to know. Yeah.
Jay Short with the super chat says, "Does Nas throw a shot at Jay? Elephant in the room."
No. I don't care what people say. Hold on, like Black Girl Lost just isn't a dope beat. It's just not a dope beat, Mike. You know that's not a dope beat.
I'm gonna be honest. I never liked Black Girl Lost like that. I never did.
And
it's one of those records where I'm not gonna say it's a bad song because it's not.
No, it's
but
not a
you
bad
see
song.
what it's around. I'm not.
Well,
you know.
Like if you were picking the beats in order on that album, that beat would fall at the bottom. Or somewhere at. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Let's see. We're picking the beats on It Was Written. You know which one I'm putting at the bottom, man.
No, Suspect is LES because he says LES on the murder.
No, I love Suspect.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what? I'm putting
street shit, and so that was the problem, like, because the street shit is like where the crux of It Was Written is like really like holding with people. It's like the lyrical density of it being street. I told you, it's the setup. It's Taken in Blood. It's that.
You know what beat I don't like on this album? Nas Is Coming. I don't.
It's better than Black Girl Lost.
Black Girl Lost says it's LES and Trackmaster, so.
Shame on both of them. Next.
Okay. Michael Williams of the Super Chat says, if there really are no features, the degree of difficulty is insane. 17 tracks completely solo. Yeah, he's different. 17 tracks solo right after you done dropped 3 albums in less than 2 years. 3 quality albums too.
You want to know? This is what I'm saying, Mike. Like when Mike, since he's doing a song called Mike and Quincy. Well, you know, Mike in his prime. I ain't never heard nobody say it's like, oh, well, like Mike didn't sing right on that track. It's like that's not about Nas. Like that's about the beat. That's 96 Nas. Like it's not a question of what the lyrics are. The lyrics don't fit the level of the beat. I mean, the beat don't fit the level of the lyrics. It just don't.
Spur 22 with the super chat says people always have to say something that's not true to try and take down goats. Nas is the GOAT. They try the same with Messi, who was the best sports player ever. Let's see. And Coop, you were talking about the media. Frank Wizard says Stretch did Take It in Blood. R.I.P. King.
Oh, that's probably, I bet.
Is that Live Squad?
Stretch. Yeah, I'm about to say that's Stretch from Live Squad, right?
Okay. So Stretch made Silent Murder too. Wow. Incredible. Shiesta 30 with the super chat says Nas hands down is that guy. That's why you have all the smear campaigns from everyone else just to lift that fake goat, Jay. All right, well, you're going to get into the smear campaigns.
Well, not even the smear about it. Well, what you have to understand is that most people pulled up on us, and they probably know about us, is because, well, quite frankly, other hip-hop publications really weren't talking about how he's been smeared or castigated until we started
saying they were a part of it.
Because they were a part of it, right? They are capitulating. And here's what I mean by capitulating. It's just like something like slavery or the Holocaust. It's like, oh, well, did you watch all of that happen? It's like, yes, well, that makes you an enabler, even if you weren't the one doing it directly. So there have been a lot of people doing it directly and indirectly by not giving him support or just standing quietly. And so that's how we all got here and got to this point of even being in a position to host the streaming party and to get a retweet from Hit Boy and a post from Master Peel that's adding according to hip hop and getting the cover of the album early. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how we got here. So understand this. The media really does control everything. And so when people are talking about this minimized rollout, it's like, think about how you got here. Why do you think this rollout is being minimized? Like, because they've rolled out 3 projects already now. And let's look at like how things have been rated, how the sales have gone. Like let's like honestly look at these things. And it's like, no, they're just like, they just bunkered down on this one. And that's why I'm telling you, it's a lack of trust from the media that leads to a minimized rollout like this. He's not giving time for people to speculate, criticize, sneak attack. People still doing sneak attacks, like posting somebody holding a bunch of Grammys. You feel what I'm saying? Part of the reason for the media rollout is images like you saw today, so that doesn't happen too much to take attention away. You get what I'm saying? Right.
No, definitely. And you know what? If this is truly going to be Nas's final album, I'm honored that, you know, we're able to be a part of it in this capacity. And I'm looking forward to, like I said, I think the music's going to stand on its own. I think this is a different, I don't want to say it's a different rollout, but I think this is a different level of anticipation and momentum from the fan base where you can actually, you know, see. Because again, I think it really stood out to me, the Rolling Stone review for King's Disease 1. I thought it was so out of pocket, but I was like, well, you know, it's just Rolling Stone not knowing what they're talking about. And then we got the KD2, which all of us loved. And, you know, because I think KD1 was like much better than we expected. But KD2 was like, oh, this is really, really dope. And then I saw the review from Pitchfork and how they broke it down. And I think we had been talking about on the episode before that how the media has, you know, played Nas in that way. And you brought up the Vibe interview for It Was Written. And I just didn't realize how deep this rabbit hole went with his relationship in the media until we started talking about it. So it's like, at least for me, I was learning with the people. Like, I knew there was, you know, notions out there like Vlad saying what he says, but I didn't know how deep it went and how it was almost like they never wanted to say anything positive about anything that Nas put together. And it's crazy.
Like, why? This is me at 15, almost 16 years old, Mike. Why is an album review from our biggest black media publication comparing Illmatic, which has literally been out about 2 years and 3 months, been out about 27 months. Why is this album being compared to Paid in Full, The Greatest Adventures of Slick Rick, It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back, and Criminal Minded?
The slander was real.
Like, Mike, for anybody even aspiring to be a journalist like I was at 15 years old, it was like, hold on, I'm like red flags everywhere in my 15-year-old head, Mike, as a young journalist wanting to be a writer. And being a young MC, that's the summer, Mike, that's the summer that I started like writing articles and rapping. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I was like, oh, I'm like, how is that? Because even at 15 years old, Mike, I knew what Paid in Full and The Greatest Adventures of Slick Rick was. I wasn't as familiar with Criminal Minded and It Takes a Nation of Millions, like end to end. Mm-hmm. But I was familiar with Paid in Full and The Greatest Adventures of Slick Rick. I'm like, oh, they fucking tripping.
Right. Like, what are we even doing?
What are we doing? And by the way, Mike, this is to start off his sophomore album. Why are you talking about the previous album to start off the review for the... Right.
It's a script. Right. I mean, it's been a script.
Like
since
I told you,
one.
Mike, that's the blueprint of how to slander him musically.
Yeah.
They laid it out right there.
Mike H with the super chat says, my first album had no guest appearances. The outcome, I'm crowned the best lyricist. Getting last album vibes from this. Say it ain't so, A2HH. I'm getting the same vibes, man. But again, even with those vibes, you put his catalog up against anything and it still, you know, dwarfs it. Jay Short says, so Nas is just going to let Jay and his minions in music and media continue to passively, aggressively take shots. He has to address it, even subliminally. I don't think he has to address it. We know what it is. You know what needs to happen, though, and I'll say this respectfully as a fan of both artists. They're probably, you know, number 1 and 2. Jay needs another album, though. Like, the the post and all that stuff. It's like, it's cool. We know, but it is what it is, man. This KD series happened. And for me, as a person who's looking at it like we got to look at the actual variables and take me being a fan out of it, this series forged Nas ahead easily at this point. I can't even argue with the Nas fan. Even if I was still on my J shit, I couldn't even make an argument at this point. I can't. How can you formulate an argument at this point?
No, Mike, even if he were to drop an album and it would be great, it still wouldn't be enough. Like, that's why it's like when you're saying he needs to make an album, it's like, oh no, like it's Mike, it's over. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, like we can go ahead and wrap, we need to wrap that conversation up and start having possibly under conversations. We have an identifiable number one, we have an identifiable number two. And that's just really that at the end of the day. And this is what I mean about, and this is where I was like, oh, well, the numbers of the touchy thing. Well, everything that we have speaks to that except for what, Mike? The numbers.
Except for the numbers.
And then you have a post like these Grammys, and that Grammy post is very problematic. And here's why. Mike, you and I did a show earlier this year where we had a segment where we highlighted the fact, well, most of those Grammys, if you take Kanye West's name off of the production credits or the shared rapping credits, it's like, well, Jay-Z now only has about 3 of those. Correct me if I'm wrong. Now, did we not do a show about it?
We did a segment where
but the way that the media controls everything, Mike, and controls the narrative, it controls what you see. All you see is him sitting around with those 22 or so Grammys. Like, he did that by himself. And the reality of the matter is that he was probably Scottie Pippen on most of those records.
Well, you know what? A lot of those records are features, and maybe somebody in the chat, or maybe you can look up how many of those were actual solo Grammys. Did you say
feature? Has it not the star?
I'm trying to think of how many of those were solo Grammys. Off the top of my head, I remember
You're the one that did the research, Mike.
Yeah, I did, and I want to say it was like 3 to 5. It was a low number. It was a low number.
Yeah.
Ohio K with the super chat says, peace and love. Been a while since I tuned in. Yeah, it has. Shout out to Ohio K. Been a while since I tuned in. Been kind of busy, but can y'all break down how to stream properly? Go ahead, Coop.
You want to know it? No, Ohio K. I'm going to tell you what. That's a loaded question, and I don't want to run down that rabbit hole just yet because I think we're going to talk about it some when we get to the station head.
Okay, well, this is what I get from it, right? Just to try to answer his question from my end.
Yeah, you're better at explaining it.
Just go search the song and stream it. Don't download it and have it in your playlist where it's downloaded, and then when you go back and play it from that list that's downloaded, it doesn't count as a stream, correct?
Right.
So whenever you want to listen to the album, just type in the album and then just stream it from there, as opposed to pulling it off of the stream.
Or if you already have a streaming service platform, like if you have like an Apple Music or a Tidal, you can stake the song and put it into a Shazam and stream.
Okay.
Yeah. Like the plug. I need to start calling her the plug, Mike. She's not the source anymore, Mike. Now she's the plug. The plug actually, I think her and her people actually posted something on Twitter a couple days ago that I actually reposted. That was like a very brief, 20-second tutorial about how to stream that I retweeted. So anybody can like anything about streaming lately, just because I knew people were going to ask, is I've been retweeting constantly and putting in my inbox. So you literally just need to dig through my messages on Twitter, and you will see different streaming ideas and platforms. And even if you go back and watch certain segments of these shows, I've talked about these things before. And it's not like I'm nauseated on it because it's really important. But since we are here, this is what I'm saying about it being important. Well, if the greatest MC of all time is having these issues, that means other artists are having these issues. Hello.
Yeah. Coop's Twitter also is
people
under.
Keep thinking it's we think Nas is the greatest MC of all time, so we're giving him this attention. It's no, that means if it's affecting the greatest MC of all time, that means it's affecting other artists who are not the greatest MC of all time. It's what we like to call the trickle down raponomics. You see, the nigga at the top is struggling, like with his fan base, understanding some of these things. And if you like start looking around at other people that don't have the greatest rap catalog ever, you might find people might be suffering the same fate. Like I find myself thinking about T.I. today and thinking about his fan base, because he came along at that time where CDs were still very much a thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of his core base, you and me are part of that. Like, I thought about it. It's like, no. I'm used to buying T.I.'s CD and downloading Tip's album and calling it a day.
Right.
Right. Aren't you? Right.
Coop's Twitter is actually under his name on the screen. It says @Coop_A2HH. Spur22 with the super chat says, who's confident enough to make a 17-track solo album? Nas, that's it. Is that still your Twitter, Coop, or do we need to change that?
Oh, yeah, I think I did change it. It's like King Coop. Oh, yeah.
Because when I read it, I was like, that's
chat,
not
right?
the most accurate one. Yeah, put it in the chat or something.
I forgot that I had changed it, to be honest with you, Mike. That was like...
when I read it, I was like, that's not right. Shyster30 with the super chat says, sooner or later, we'll all see who the prophet is. Lyrics from 2+ decades ago. He's been the benchmark since '94. Salute the job you guys do every week. Appreciate that, Shyster30. Daryl Baxter with the super chat says, Reddit guy said it won't be his last. Okay. Busta delayed because of Takeoff. Will KD3 be perceived differently? So, Busta delayed because of Takeoff? I saw that Drake actually changed his Apollo show too. It's interesting stuff. I don't know what to say. I go down a whole rabbit hole with that. 36 Chambers with the super chat says, true artists don't retire. Nas has said that he's never had a day job. Music is this man's life. This is not his last album. Probably going until he can. Probably going until he can. Probably be going until he can. Excuse me. I could see that. But you know what? He's also created a lane to show that at whatever age he can make this type of music. I think that people who are so lyrically sound and just lyrically complex and don't, and I don't want to throw a shot, but y'all know me. I got to do this, though. Like, you can't go out there at 50-something years old making the real Slim Shady. If you have content and real, basis, and you're not gimmicky in that sense, you can keep going. I think that Black Thought's showing us this. I think that Nas is showing us this. And I think, even though we weren't a huge fan of Common's last effort, Common could put out an album tomorrow. Common could put out an album in 10 years. Just can.
Yes, I do think Eminem gave a very nice speech at his Hall of Fame induction.
I didn't see his speech. I heard about his speech. It was very predictable to me. Of course, I'm pretty sure he went out there. He went out there and pandered and said, "Yo, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Cool G Rap and blah blah blah."
No, he's right about that though.
But see, this is my thing with Eminem and that. This is my thing with Eminem and that stuff.
Mike, no, it's
but Coop. This is my thing when he does that stuff. When he came in the door, he wasn't giving any of these people props. That's just real. All that stuff is new. All that stuff is new. When the Slim Shady LP was out, when Marshall Mathers LP was out, I heard no Cool G Rap stuff. I didn't.
Eminem show.
No, his top 10 didn't have any of those guys in it.
I mean, didn't have him in there, but I mean, he was more like, he was That
was the beginning of his pandering.
He was very complimentary with his praise to his contemporaries and whatnot at his peak.
Reggie, Jay-Z, Tupac, and Biggie. Andre from Outkast, Jada, Corrupt, Nas, and then me. He had Nas at like number 9 or something.
Yeah, I thought that was. Well, I've always said that was the absurd part about that, but that's.
I'm sorry, man. How do you have that kind of level of appreciation for hip hop and you got Nas at 9 and Jay at 2? Now I get the Reggie thing because that's his whole style. Like that's like me putting Ghostface at number 1. He's just my guy, or Q-Tip or something. You know what I mean? But there's no Jay-Z in his style, right? So at that point, I feel like that's more of a I'm looking at it objectively. And then how does Nas end up at 9? I just don't understand. And we're talking about 2002 guys. So at
everybody
this
has
point,
different perspectives. You know what I'm saying? That's what I mean. Everybody has different perspectives. I will tell you this is that like I've always been told to me like cats from the D tend to rock with like the Nas and Tupac more than the Big and J. So that part of it is surprising to me.
But he's not
like,
a reflection.
Like the niggas I know from the D, like they play like the niggas I know from the D still play It Was Written. Like
I'm sure
that's their shit.
I was gonna say I'm sure Royce is big on Nas, and I remember it was either Royce or Ortiz. They were arguing that It Was Written is better than Illmatic. So yeah, I could see like from a lyricist standpoint and a writer standpoint, you have to hold Nas high. And like I said, this is 2002, so we're talking about Illmatic, It Was Written, I Am. Nostradamus, and Stillmatic is out at this point, and you got Nas behind Corrupt.
I think Lost Tapes is out too, isn't it? Then
I think so, yeah, or around the same time. It might not have been out. I'll be fair here.
Well, you had heard those records that are on the Lost Tapes if you were Eminem, because I had heard most of those records by the time. Like I think the only thing that I hadn't heard on Lost Tapes when I heard Lost Tapes, I think was Purple, Black Zombie. Most of that stuff I'd already heard, Mike.
Saying all this to say, in my personal opinion, I'm not saying Eminem doesn't love hip-hop or whatever, but I think the fact that he goes extra with his giving props to other MCs is because he understands that he shouldn't be the fourth MC, solo MC, inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I'm sorry, fifth. Third living solo MC. Inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He knows that. And the only way to smooth that over with people is to go out there and start yelling Big Daddy Kane's name, Rakim's name, Cool G Rap, KRS. You know what I mean?
I understand what you're saying. And you were right about that comment. I just don't want to make it about him on this day because he doesn't even have an album that's about to drop. So,
but congratulations to him. And I want to say all that to say though, congratulations to him getting in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Even though I was livid that he got in there and Tribe didn't, but whatever. We'll talk about Tribe later.
This is what I mean. That's the same thing. It's like, well, you can be livid about it, or you can understand that you live in America. Now, which one do you want to do?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, we already know what it is, but I'm just not going to.
You're the one that said it, Mike. Like,
no.
I was at your house, Mike, and I told you, Mike, I was like, you're having a great year, Mike. I'm like, you've been calling a lot of shit. This is one of the things that you called.
I said
you said they're going to bump up Infinite, put him in early, put him ahead of da-da-da-da-da.
Well, I saw it when he was inducting LL Cool J in. I said they're just getting us prepared for Eminem to get in there. Now, what I didn't know that they were
that you said these things, Mike.
What I didn't know that they were gonna do though, I didn't know they were gonna bump him up early and count Infinite. Now I didn't call that one. I thought they were at least gonna wait.
Yes, you did, Mike. You said that they are probably gonna find a way to put him in the front. You did say that.
Yeah, okay, this is what I thought. Mike. I thought Tribe was gonna walk in with him.
And you knew, like Mike, you were the one that said they're gonna find a way to get him in early.
But see, I thought Tribe.
They found the way.
I thought they were gonna walk him.
That's great journalistic forecasting and integrity on your part.
I thought they were going to walk him in with Tribe, but they just didn't even I mean, they nominated Tribe, but they didn't put Tribe in, and I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
Ruthless.
Like, Detroit niggas still playing Pour Out a Little Liquor, Mike. Like, I'm not joking either.
36 Chambers with the super chat says, Nas and Hit Boy still got to do Still Magic. Shout out to Free for the dope title. Yeah, Still Magic would be dope. I guess that would be the next one they could do. Treymo says, Nas the GOAT, off topic, but will y'all ever do a special edition episode and speak on the great R&B classic albums? We can do that when ain't nothing going on or something. I mean, we did a whole, I think we did a Thriller Purple Rain episode, and I think that Comcast was fucking with my signal that day, so it was all over the place, but yeah, we could definitely do R&B. R&B needs more love, and no pun intended, since Diddy calls himself Love now, but...
Well, no, Mike, that goes back to some of what we were talking about behind the scenes earlier when I was telling you about having some ideas for some things. Right. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, we're growing and like expanding some things. So it's like there's going to be room for us to do some stuff. You know what? Can I tell you something, Mike? I was disappointed in the numbers that like our Purple Rain and Thriller like versus matchup did. Like just like numbers wise, like all jokes aside, because it's like, oh, how many like people like pull up and like really just like talk Thriller versus Purple Rain, like really run it down and dialogue it and talk about it. So I was expecting the response and the feedback to be greater. So that's why I've pulled back more on the R&B just on this show. You know what I'm saying?
Love, yeah. And I feel a responsibility because R&B is a part of why hip hop is even here in the first place, right? I mean, it's black culture and it's black music. So I mean, R&B needs help. And I'm willing. I love the discussions that we have as it pertains to hip hop, and I would love to have some of those discussions at R&B. And I would love for younger, new R&B acts to be making great current R&B music, so we don't have to just kind of live in the past with it. And I know that they are. It's just so much music out there, man. What I was gonna say though, I know those topics always come up, or the debate always comes up with Off the Wall or Thriller. I think it was Marley Marl on his show. He was doing like a live one day, and I kind of chimed in or whatever. And everybody was debating Off the Wall and Thriller. And what I say to all of this, because I think both albums are great, and I get it for people who favor one or the other. If you stack all of the songs on Off the Wall and Thriller, from the best song to the worst song, the last 3 songs are going to be from Off the Wall. And that is what it is.
So this is what I mean. So this is like one of those things where it's like, okay. You want to know what? No, fuck all that right quick. Because you want to know what's funny? This might be subconscious because we're looking at this Michael and Quincy title.
I think so. I mean, and that's how I was going to tie it in, because we got Michael and Quincy here on the album.
No, Mike, I just pulled Off the Wall up. And what I will tell you is that I don't think it's the last 3 songs. I don't believe that necessarily. It might be a tie. It might be that Public Enemy Rakim thing that we just did, Mike, where it's like, well, no, I think my middle of the road songs on Off the Wall are better than that middle of Thriller. Like it is.
Everything is home runs. I think that the last 3 songs, if we stack those up from like the best songs to the weakest songs, I think the last 3 is going to be Girlfriend, it's the Falling in Love, and Burn This Disco Out.
It's definitely Burn
Thriller's
This Disco
better
Out.
Than all of the songs.
Burn This Disco Out is at the bottom.
Yeah, at the bottom. I think every song on Thriller is better than those 3 songs. And I love It's the Falling in Love.
I don't know about It's the Falling in Love. See, I like It's the Falling in Love more than your favorite song on Thriller.
You like it better than Baby Be Mine?
I do. I'm not a fan of Baby Be Mine. I would put Baby Be Mine right under Burn This Disco Out.
No.
right above. Like, those are the 2 worst songs to me.
No.
Just being honest. But this is what I'm trying to tell you, Mike, is that, like, I don't know what you think of something. Like, how about this? Do you think Beat It is better than Rock With You? I don't.
Why'd you pick those 2 to go against each other?
What does Rock With You go with? Don't Stop Till You Get Enough is Billie Jean, right?
No, I would put Don't Stop Till You Get Enough with Wanna Be Starting Something.
No, those are the first singles, though. Isn't Don't Stop Till You Get Enough and Billie Jean the first singles?
Billie Jean's not the first single. The Girl Is Mine's the first single.
No, it is not, Mike. Where the video at for that shit?
It is. It's the first single. It was 1982. It wasn't no video for it.
You want to know what happened with that? They didn't decide to make a video for it because that shit wasn't hot. Because that's the song that's going right after the... those 2 records, Mike, that's what I'm saying. I'll take everything on Off the Wall over those 2 records.
So, ho. You think Girlfriend's better than The Girl Is Mine? It's not. Come on. It's not. Both Paul McCartney wrote Girlfriend too, so yeah.
It's a wash. Nobody cares.
Nah.
It's a wash.
The Girl Is Mine.
I don't care, but I mean, like,
The Girl Is Mine's a classic. I mean, if it wasn't for The Girl Is Mine,
Don't Stop Till You Get Enough. Rock, Mike, Get On the Floor. There's nothing on Thriller that's as funky as Get On the Floor.
I think Baby Be Mine and Get On the Floor are comparable.
You think what?
I think Baby Be Mine and Get on the Floor are comparable. But if you want to talk about funk, then you're gonna have to throw PYT up against Get on the Floor.
Hold on, you want to know? Hold on, Mike. Do you like Lady in My Life or I Can't Help It more?
Damn, I got to be honest. I can't help it.
Thank you. Thank you.
But it's close. It's not.
Okay. Okay.
But
no,
again,
at least you're being honest. Okay. I just want.
This
all right.
This is what I will say. This is what I will say, and we'll move on. This is what I'll say. In my personal opinion, of Michael's top 5 songs, 3 of those songs are on Off the Wall, and that is "Rock with You," "Can't Help It," and "Off the Wall" itself.
Okay.
I would say my top 5 Michael Jackson songs in no particular order. I don't want to get beat up here. Is Billie Jean, Human Nature, Rock With You, Off the Wall, and Can't Help It.
You want to know what, Mike? Human Nature might be the tiebreaker in all this. You might be right. Thriller might be slightly better. Slightly. It's not a lot, Mike. It's not like it's some gap. It's not a gap like people think it is. It's not like, oh, Thriller's here. It's no, it's not.
I mean, the vibe and the groove of Off the Wall is better than Thriller. But if you want to talk about song for song, them home runs on Thriller is just too much.
Mike, I mean, the first 5 songs on Off the Wall, like, it's as big as it gets. That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah.
Nas the GOAT with the super chat says, is KD series better than the Blueprint series? Who?
Oh yeah, that's not even conversation.
Well, we gotta see what the third one is. I gotta be fair here. We gotta wait till the third one comes out. And we'll see.
What do you mean the third one? What? We got the Blueprint 3.
No, I'm talking about KD3. It ain't even came out.
Oh.
See, y'all sitting there giving it to it and we ain't even heard the album yet.
You keep telling yourself stuff's not true, Mike.
We'll see Friday. We'll have that discussion Friday. Craig Smith with the super chat says, much success to you. Even if you wish me the opposite, sooner or later we'll all see who the prophet is. Man called his shot 23 years ago and made good. Gotta respect that. That's confidence. He knows he's the best. The Raisin Head says Nas would let us know that this would be his last album by naming something that would say last album without saying last album. Those last couple songs sound very final.
It might be, I mean, it could just be the end of the KD series or it could just be a break. Who knows? But this is what I'm saying. So let me wrap up this media point and then we can kind of like jump around or jump into the next.
Yeah, I want to get into the streaming, party that we're having. So.
Yeah, we can cover that next. So This is what I'm saying. So what do you do when you're, a rap icon and a giant who's been slandered by the media and you don't trust the media, but you're like a core lover of hip hop and a core fundamental artist? It's like, oh, well, you might like start grassrooting your shit, but want your fan base to get educated and informed. And so that's what I really see is going on is it's like, well, he's taking it out of the media's hands by minimizing the rollout and putting it in the hands of, guess what?
The people.
And people like you and me who have been doing what? Speaking to and for and with
the people.
And isn't this what the fuck we be wanting our artists to do, Mike?
This is what hip hop is about.
That's what hip hop is about. And it's like, with that being said, let's get to the streaming party.
Okay, well, let me get to these super chats. Jay Short says, Coop didn't finish your point about Nas and the media. He just did.
Oh, I think I just did.
Bit behind. Yeah, I was behind on that one. Let's see. Mad Max is in the building. Shout out to Mad Max. LOL, love Nas. He's like, love Nas, but him doing an album with no features isn't something you should be acting. You should be acting no one else would do. LOL. Cole did that 3 times straight. So he thinks that, might need to change it up, have some variety in there.
Hold on.
But he's not Cole, though.
No. I think we got the back. Cole's not him. And even Cole knows that.
Oh, yeah.
And Cole, with all due respect to him, he's only made one great album like that, though. He made 3 straight albums like that, but only one of those albums is great, though. Just being honest.
I think a large part of Cole isn't the features, it's the fact of him producing everything. And at least for me. And I think Cole's great. And I think what Cole has done over the past 2 years has made me sit back and think that, I think I've been understating and underrating where Cole really is in comparison to, Kendrick. But I do think that for me, a large part of that is production. I actually like hearing Cole by himself. I don't think he really needs features like that. I think I'd prefer to hear Cole by himself because he's a concept writer. But I think for me, it's just him producing everything.
He's very much off the train of thought tree, so he has the ability to rock solo.
Kendrick does that too.
I mean, when we have talked about the separation between him and Kendrick, we have talked about albums, not skills. And even the way that Kendrick's albums are not holding up, and even with this hiatus and the way Cole is rapping and the consistency of him, like I told you, Mike, it's like, oh, well, he may only have one actual 5.5, like the Forest Hills. But it's like, oh, he got a lot of 3.5s and 4s and a couple 4.5s running around. You feel what I'm saying? And it's
he's not flashy, He's more of a Tony Gwynn. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what you're gonna get. And what Tony did was incredible. But as a kid, I wasn't a huge Tony Gwynn fan because he wasn't hitting it over the wall like that. But as you grow older, you appreciate, that level of consistency, and you're like, looking at that batting average and the way that he would never strike out, it's impressive.
No, I like that, Mike, because Tony Gwynn never struck out, and that's very similar to how Cole's career is going. It's like, that's what I'm saying. It's like, oh no, is he making these classics and like every time out, like the way people feel like Kendrick is? No, I believe some of that is the media controlling that narrative as well. Mm-hmm. Like, that's what I'm saying, Mike. Like, and not just from the plug. That's her new name. New name's the plug, not the source. Not just from the plug, Mike. But from other people I've been seeing and hearing, like, how a lot of these things and interactions roll, and it's like, no, like some of Kendrick's placement is placement, and Cole's placement is fan base.
No, it's real. And I think that Cole is very much like Nas in that sense, where his fans hold him down,
his
and they
fans have him placed where he belongs, and
they keep him here too. Like, you say anything critical about Cole, his fans are coming at you.
Well, can I tell you something? It's kind of happening in similar fashion the way it did before, where it's like, well, at their peak and at their prime, a lot of people were saying, like, that guy's better. It's like, did you hear that string of albums? And then you go back and listen to the albums. It's like, well, those albums aren't as classic as I thought that they were. And then you hear the other guy, and it's like, man, this other guy's still rapping his ass off. Hold on, I feel like this other guy was here first, rapping his ass off, though.
On everybody's shit.
Did that sound like anything that we're familiar with here?
It does. It really does.
And so, Mike, this is what I'm going to tell you. Like, that bar work, that lyricism, that writing, that concept writing skill and ability and technicality that you're talking about in a hip hop form, Mike, like Rakim said on I Ain't No Joke. Oh no, that holds itself as an MC more than anything else. Nas is being evidence of it, and you're seeing people like J. Cole and Lil Wayne provide backup. Like, it's like, no, we have Exhibit A, we have Nas. It's like, no, we got Exhibit B and C. We have kind of present you Lil Wayne and J. Cole. It's like, no, you can rhyme your ass off, Mike.
Thumbs up in the chat, everybody. And if you're not subscribed to the According to Hip Hop YouTube channel, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the bell icon so you know when we live. But yeah, hit thumbs up in the chat. We about to talk about this not live streaming, but the streaming party for KD3. Let me get to these super chats and we'll jump into that. Let's see. Andre Shashir says, Nas my favorite, but Conway's dropping soon. And from what I've heard, he could be in a heavy contention of album of the year as well. And has the Nas feature on there as well. What are we looking like as far as the Conway thing?
I would love that for him. As much as I personally like God Don't Make Mistakes, and I love his development and growth as an artist and a songwriter, we castigate our gangster rappers for not doing the things that some of our conscious rappers do in terms of the topics and subject matter that they approach. Well, here we have somebody who, Mike, like, he talks greasy the way Prodigy talks. And I mean that in a great way, like in a great hip hop way. But he is showing himself to diversify, like records with Jill Scott, records like Stress, where he's talking about dealing with depression, alcohol abuse. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
These are things that we ask them to do. Like, we ask people like Conway and Gibbs to, like, stretch their boundaries. And when they do, we don't laud them the way that we should. And what I'll tell you is that God Don't Make Mistakes. I like the strides. I love the strides as a writer and the growth as an artist. but you still need some of that feeling, like some of that lemon, some of that Jesus crisis, some of that juvenile hell. God don't make mistakes, misses the marks on providing those feelings like he usually does. Like he usually provides you with that feeling. And that's where God don't make mistakes kind of missed. It's like the Griselda record, John Woo flick, well, it doesn't hit the way it usually hits. It's like the Lock and Load with Beanie Siegel. I like it. It doesn't hit the way he usually hits to start off an album. And so I think it's just some growing pains with him becoming a more well-rounded artist.
Stepping out of his comfort zone.
Look, I'm seeing him with Busta, with Kane, with Nas, you know, really lyrical, well-rounded MCs, Mike. You know what I'm saying? And so I could see the possibility for him throwing his hat back in the ring again and make it viable. I hope he makes it soon, though, Mike, because it's like, quite frankly, Nas pushed our whole yearbook back like 2 months when he dropped Magic. Like, let's just keep it real.
Right. Chief and them with the super chat says, just a heads up, Apple Podcasts be like 3 episodes behind. Okay. I think it's some more super chats and we'll get into the streaming party and why this is important and the fun that we're going to have too. Melvin Wright with the super chat says, you were correct, Coop. Detroit is in the house. It's talking about Detroit loving the lyricists that are more Biggie and, no, more Pac and Nas.
Mike, it's Motown's home.
Yeah.
The music, the words.
Congrats to, Jay Short says, congrats to Dr. Dre, Jimmy Iovine, Royce the 5'9", and MTV. Mission completed. Correct. Dre's already in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. 36 Chambers with the super chat says, chat numbers are super high today. Thanks for everything you guys do for the culture and for keeping the show going. A2HH is the best hip-hop publication. Fire. Appreciate that. We're about to get into some more, man, because we're going to talk this PE and Eric B. and Rakim. If you didn't catch it on the Patreon, it was epic. Me and Coop was sitting there like it was a chess match. We had to stop for a second, taking notes and all of that. 36 Chambers says, the fact that MJ fans in the chat can all point to which album is the best and justify it speaks volumes about the scope of him as an artist. Legend. Sellers says, respectfully, the 2 bottom songs from both albums are Paul McCartney joints, Girlfriend and The Girl Is Mine. The Girl Is Mine is legendary, though. We wouldn't have The Boy Is Mine from Monica and Brandy if not for that song.
I just don't like the record that much. I'm just going to be honest with you. I just don't like the record. I just don't.
You know what? For the people who are sitting here, I mean, everybody's on YouTube. We're on YouTube right now. If you look up the demo of The Girl Is Mine, because Michael wrote that, the version without Paul, to me, is better. Where it's him singing all the parts, he was going in. Ray Rim to the super chat says, do you believe that Jay-Z's content in placing himself in the conversation whenever Nas drops is crass or competitive? I saw the Grammy post. I think it's competitive, but at this point,
it's both.
Yeah, you gotta speak with the music, and I think that what we've seen, and I say this respectfully, again, it's a Jay-Z fan because I don't want people in this room to get misconstrued. I know I'm trying to go to brunches, guys. I really am. I mean, we're getting our numbers up. I'm trying to go to a brunch, but what I'm gonna say is,
we ain't going to that one.
We saw how this God did verse was just blown way out of proportion. And it's a good verse, man. You know what I mean? But I don't think we've ever talked. I don't think the media has ever jumped on an individual verse like that. You would think that this was the last verse from Streets is Watching or something.
Can I ask you? It's pretty great. It's a great verse.
That's a great verse.
It's a great verse.
Possibly his best verse.
I don't know about that. Third verse to Dead Presidents. Yeah. Dead Presidents.
Soviet, unified, steady flow. You already know. You light them, heavy roll, heavy dough. Mike Machete to flow. I like the last verse on Can I Live, too.
I'm cool with the Keep One Eye Open at CBS bar. That's one of the best rap endings to a song ever, in my opinion. Because that's one of those things that was right in everybody's plain sight to use, and he caught it first, and I like that about him. That let me know that the way that he thought was different. But this is what I mean when I say this, Mike. You ever seen Stevie Wonder post a picture of him like sitting around with all his Grammys, like when like Bob Dylan or Prince or Michael Jackson about to drop an album? Like, think about this: when Prince and Michael Jackson were in their prime. If you literally just go, like Mike, to 1971, no, Mike, pretty much from like 1970 to like 1977, Stevie's got shit on lock in a way no black artist ever has.
Album of the year, back to back.
No, Mike, 3 out of 4 years. Fuck a back to back, Mike.
Yeah.
3 out of 4.
Album of the year, the Grammys.
3 out of 4. This is for
a black artist in the 70s when at that time I feel like maybe it was the American Music Awards, but they had subcategories for black artists where it was like best black artist or best art. So they weren't even really trying to put black artists in that best album.
Best nigga singing with a white woman, Mike.
Because it's kind of like, you know, even now with the Grammys and hip hop, where you really have to make a crossover hip hop album to be in the album of the year conversation. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I still have to say, it's like, now imagine Like, imagine it's the Grammys and like Purple Rain and Thriller are nominated, about to come out, and Stevie pull up with his Grammys and shit, like at the Clive Davis party. It's like, remember me, motherfuckers?
Well, it's literally like
that's how that looks. Like, imagine Stevie doing that to Prince and Mike, like while they making Thriller and Purple Rain. Like, hey, remember when I got all these trophies? Like it's like 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago.
It's literally like
in 1980. I promise it's good.
It's literally like if LeBron's in the finals or something, and Michael Jordan just posts his 6 rings or something. You know what I mean? But what I want to know.
Didn't he do that though? Didn't he do that?
He might have done that. I don't know.
Did he do that?
I don't know. He might have done that.
I think Mike's just petty, though.
Don't quote me. He's competitive, too. But see, this is what I wanted to know. And I was talking to my guy, Brandon. I was like, how did this picture even come about? Was Jay-Z just sitting at the house one day and
That's what I'm saying.
Like, you know what?
Like,
go get my Grammys. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because you was just over my crib. It's like we just sitting in the crib, like, you know what would be cool? Let me just go get all my awards out. We're going to put them here, and somebody take an overhead picture. It looked like somebody was damn near on a ladder. I don't know, but I just want to know how it came together.
Clout chasing, wouldn't we?
Unless
artists did this, we would call it clout chasing.
There has to be a story behind this. I'm not going to say all of that. I just want to know what the story is.
Well, I'm saying if a lesser artist did it, we would call this clout chasing. It's be like, why did they grab all their trophies and put them in a room and then take a picture?
I'm going to blame Khaled. I'm going to blame Khaled. Khaled posted it. He may have been over Jay's house.
Who posted? I thought Guru posted it.
And you're right. And Khaled, yeah. I'm sorry. False information.
See what I'm saying? That's that energy I'm talking about. Yeah. So it's Wednesday, and don't tell me, Mike, we know how this shit works. It's like, oh, we all knew that this KD track listing was probably coming today. Yeah. So did they. Mm-hmm. And so when you do stuff like this today, it's like, oh, fam, let me tell you what's going on. No. Let me tell you what's going on. And I really thought about this. It's like, I think people are looking at Nas in this run like this is like Muhammad Ali, but like Muhammad Ali who beat George Foreman, like the tactician, the older guy that had to play smarter and like work his way through the rounds. Oh, no, Mike. I just heard Magic. That's the guy that whooped Sonny Liston's ass, like the young guy that was talking shit. And that's what I'm saying when I'm looking at these song titles and I'm looking at the behavior and I'm looking at the insulation. I'm like, oh, no, that's not old Ali that's being a tactician and putting on like for the fight. That's the young dude, like the young lion.
Yeah, because if we get Magic energy on a song like Beef or, Don't Shoot, or legit Ghetto Reporter, it's gonna be top notch.
Titles sound bold. That's what I mean. It feels very like Criminal Minded ish, like in terms of the boldness of the songs. Like this is what I mean about it has like BDP song titles. My Philosophy, 9mm goes bang. The bridge is over. You know what I'm saying? Those are bold sounding songs. Like that's what I'm saying. It's like recession proof. I'm on fire. Ghetto Reporter. No, that's that Boogie Down Productions, like bold statement, hip hop, fundamental music shit. You know what I'm saying?
No, you're right.
Like, off the titles. He usually doesn't do titles like that. His titles usually come from a place where he rhymes and he says shit at the end like, time is money. When it comes to mine, Take It in Blood. And it's like, oh, that's the song title. No, this has a bolder feel to it. This doesn't feel subtle like that. This doesn't feel intricate like that. This feels like it feels like he knows he's the fucking man, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Right.
Ray Realms with the super chat says, let a brother try again. Did you check out my Cash App? Redheaded Stepchild. I'm going to check that out. We'll look at that. Ray Realms always showing the love here, man. Let me get down to the end of the super chat, and then we'll go ahead and talk about the streaming party. Mad Max says, Coop, relax. Cole means to my generation is Nazish. What he means to my generation is nauseous. I wasn't saying he's Nas, but you guys got to say that Nas is the only guy who would do a featureless album. That's Cap.
Oh, no, we didn't say that. I'm saying we shouldn't be surprised that he is doing this because he usually takes on the bulk of almost all his projects by himself. Like, can you name like a feature-heavy Nas album that you can think of, Mike? That's what I'm trying to say. It's like, when has he ever been like?
You're right.
It was like,
what's the most feature-heavy Nas album?
I think Streets Disciple has the double album is the one that I think has the most help. And that's what I mean. And that's a mixed bag of results sometimes. That's what I mean. He's better when he's by himself. I'm cool with that. It's like, I'm cool if it just says featuring AZ, featuring Raekwon.
Yeah, you're
and
right.
Like, you really don't see nothing else like that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm cool with shit like that because it's him. And what I'm saying is that, no, J. Cole's not Nas in the regard that it's like, no. Nas has a lot of albums with little help that are really great. It's part of how he got to be here. Yeah.
Becca Jones says, you see that Hot 97 post, Blue Album Tracklist, not KD3. Well, Hot 97, you know, it's interesting. And I want to say this. I'm just going to be honest because, you know, we're honest media here. When KD1 came out, Hot 97 specifically, I remember rolling out the red carpet for Nas and really talking about his career and really being excited about it. And they did some really good interviews. I think it was Ebro and interview. I think it was Ebro and Rosenberg. But I feel like now that love was there because they thought that was it.
Thank you. Oh, Mike, get out my head. It's like, that's the last part we need to talk about.
It's like, where's the love? Like,
hold on.
They showed all that love for KD1 because I think they didn't think there was anything else in the canon. It was a farewell love fest. So they thought.
That's actually how I wanted to transition into the streaming thing. I wanted to start off by saying my last point I want to make about the media is that the same way that you kind of followed us here. Now that you're here, start looking out because what you really need to be looking for now from the media, specifically the hip hop media, because now you can see it clearly, is like, oh, well, we know KD3 is dropping pretty much, Mike, in what, roughly 48 hours or so?
Yeah, estimate.
54 hours or so? What hip-hop media and music entities are out supporting it right now? Because the entire industry knows that the album's coming.
Right.
It has known. And so what you might need to do is pay attention wherever you are. Like, if you're in California, see who's really supporting Nas. If you're in New York, see who's like radio,
from
TV,
a hip hop media standpoint. Yeah.
From a hip hop media standpoint, because I bet you what you're going to find is that that's where you're going to see the real slander that exists is in the lack of support, and why the fan base is supposed to support more is because, oh, well, the only time you've really seen him, Mike, you even talked about it. It's like he usually doesn't do a pub run like this. And you're right, he doesn't for KD1, but that's because they all thought he was done.
Yep.
They're like, oh, let's roll out the carpet for Grandpa one more time. Mike, that ain't no dummy. He probably felt that.
Yeah. And you know what? At the end of the day, on KD2, he had a great record with Lauryn Hill, had Lauryn Hill rhyming again. None of these people wanted to go out there and talk about that. It's interesting, man. At the end of the day, you want to call yourself hip-hop media. One of hip-hop's greats, and I think any of the people that are sitting in these positions, Ebro, Rosenberg, Charlemagne, or whatever, they would tell you, or they should tell you, Nas is top 3, even without thinking, right? And when you have somebody who is this important to the culture of hip-hop, the genre of hip-hop music, on a run like this, and they're about to release KD3, a third album in this series, fourth album in 2 years, at 30 years in his career, they need to be talking about this. And like you said, if they're not talking about this and they're not applauding this and they're not promoting this, it shows you where they stand and what side of the line they're on.
He should be the talk of the hip hop town right now. Like all these guys have eaten off of him because they work for hip hop, radio, and media. There has been no avoiding Nas the last 30 years. So what's his name that didn't listen to Magic but was saying that it wasn't all that, and we could tell when he listened to it that he didn't hear shit? Was that?
Which one? Cypher Sounds and Rosenberg.
That was Cypher Sounds and Rosenberg. It's like, no, this is what I'm saying. Some of the slander is like right in front of you. It's like the niggas was literally telling you Magic wasn't all that. And now he's listening to it. He's like, oh man, this sounds better when I first heard it. What you mean when you first heard it, my G? Like, come on.
People in the chat were even telling him he was bugging.
Like that was your first time hearing it, my G. Like keep it 100. Like you've been smelling yourself too much. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of these dudes, because of their relationships with other artists who are more viable because of the streams that they get and the numbers that they move, no, they think that they can just sidestep Nas, and that's exactly what's going on right now. So it's like, pay attention to these motherfuckers you follow: Flex, Ebro, Rosenberg. Like all of them, all the podcast hosts, it's like all of them. You know what I'm saying?
Be about the music.
I'll tell you what, there's a podcast host that's major out here that literally like shitted on Nas like on the podcast publicly and then reached out to his people right after and asked for an interview. And they like we just watched you shit on him. Like, why would we come sit down with you when we just watched you like talk down on the man? In ways that you don't talk about, know who specifically.
Yeah. This is the thing. And if this is about hip hop music and the love of the music, you have to first of all respect this artist, and you got to respect the run that he's on. And if you want to say that the music ain't hitting or whatever, there's a lot of people that would disagree with that, and that's your personal opinion. But it at least deserves coverage, because that's what the people want. That's why we got all the people in here right now. People want to hear this, and so what we're gonna do. We're going to do this listening party, I would say, stream party, and I'm going to put the banner up here. It's on Station Head. So if you're not already on Station Head, go ahead and download Station Head and go look for A2HH Live, and we're going to get on that thing and listen to this thing together. And see, the great thing about Station Head, I know we were talking about streams, everybody who's in the room, it counts for a stream. So right now, we got like 600 plus people in this room. So if I were to play, which I can on YouTube, but if I were to play the album, it would count for 600 streams for each song, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
That is correct.
So that's why
each person that's in the room, each person that's in the room with us, when we play the record, that person counts as a stream, even though we only play the song one time. So the more people that we get in the room, the more the stream works. Now, we get to actually sit here and talk about this shit together. You know what I'm saying? And not deal with what we had to deal with Rosenberg and Cypher Sounds when they were trying to play Magic to the left last year, and they hadn't even heard the shit, and the people were telling them opposite things. You want to know what the beautiful part for us is, like, media pundits to get to like do it live like this and talk to our people live about it and go back and forth, is that, Mike, we literally get to do it probably from midnight to about 2. And then we get to pull back up at 5 when we've had time to sleep and settle. That's why I told you, Mike, that midnight listen is different.
Yeah.
That midnight listen is different than when you go get in your car. You know what I'm saying? Or when you wake up to it and play it while you're working out. Like, it hits you different at different times. And so I like the new element for me of doing it, with the fans involved and really getting to dissect some early thoughts about the record, and then going back to.
And not even with just the fans, man. This is going to be kind of the first time that I've been able to listen to a album that's been highly anticipated like this, with you. You know what I'm saying? We can sit here and talk about this and listen to this shit
you're right, Mike.
Together.
We're usually separate. You want to know what's crazy? And I think this is why this album is important for us. I can remember when we talked, and we're texting when we were listening to Pray for Paris. Do you remember that?
Yeah. was like, yeah, this shit's
I was
special.
like, Mike, are you listening to this shit? You're like, I'm about to. And you like heard George Bondo and you texted me back. You was like, whoa. I was like, dude, I was like, I'm on like track 7. I was like, Mike, I was like, this shit right here. Like this shit right here, Mike.
Yeah, Pray for Paris is special.
And so I look forward to moments like that. I told you, Mike, I haven't been down here all year to like open up any wine or a cigar. Cause I told you, Mike, I listened to the first song and I'm like, I need to go downstairs. And it's like Freddie almost had me, like couldn't be done and Blackest in the Room that start, like almost had me. Like I was about to go downstairs and then the third song came on. I was like, I'm gonna stay upstairs.
Jay Short with the super chat says Griselda needs an all hands on deck Conway or compilation album. They just did one. It was pretty dope too. Says they don't have a crown jewel classic in their catalog like 36 Chambers of Doggy Style. I would say their crown jewel is Pray for Paris, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would echo those sentiments, Mike.
Yeah. Actually, that's kind of what got us on the roll of quote unquote being a Griselda channel.
Right.
Because everybody was calling us a Griselda channel when we was giving props to what Westside was doing in 2020. And then when Conway came with From a King to a God.
No,
and the anticipation of Benny, you know?
Yeah, no, that was a great year for them. That was their coming out party year. And, you know, they've been on a nice roll since. But Pray for Paris definitely was something different. You know, one of the things that I've thought about, you know, and this is what I mean about this streaming party being an important, it's like, well, like broaden your mind a little bit and like understand that it's like, well, think about how many other artists we can potentially do this for if we can build relationships and kind of like help with the process of this. That's what I really like to find to be intriguing about this is like, well, you know, what can I do to help contribute to the process for the people who are part of this industry, who are making quality music? That's what I'm saying is it's like, well, you know, Nas's people in the plug might be using us as a litmus test for how this works on their end by going to a grassroots publication and other grassroots publication. But we also need to be kind of testing it for ourselves and seeing how it works for us, because maybe we can help do this for other artists when they do their rollouts and start getting in contact with their people as well. That's what I'm saying. It's just like now that I understand a lot of the streaming things that the plug taught me, is that, you know, this shit really applies to everybody. She works for Nas's team. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the shit she putting down is factual and solid across the board. So it's not like it's just you know, applicable to Nas type of thing. It's just more blatant with him because, you know, Mike, it's Nas.
And that's the conversation. And this is the most anticipated hip hop album of the year. This series, and like I told you, when Magic dropped, I was really, really anticipating KD3 because the level that he's rapping at on Magic, and like you said, it was done in a week. I'm like, yeah, this next one is gonna be something special.
Do you think that, like, you think Pac was worried about, or anybody in his team was talking to anybody in the media about doing numbers after he made All Eyes on Me? Do you think he was worried about Machiavelli moving? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do you think that Biggie's team was worried about Life After Death moving after Ready to Die? You get what I'm saying? So when people are like, well, you know, Nas has sold 30 million records, it's like, nah, don't feed me that, fam. Like, that's not fair for the stratosphere that he's in. Other dudes in his stratosphere ain't never even had to even do shit like this. And then that's what I'm saying about, well, there's a whole tree of people who aren't even in the greatest of MC all-time conversation that this might apply to as well. We're going to have a conversation about one of those people or groups, maybe, you know, today.
What I was going to say, though, to piggyback on that, if he sold 30 million records, which I'm sure he did, maybe more, treat him like it, you know? And I'm talking about, again, Hot 97, inviting him and rolling him out the red carpet for KD1, but you need to act like that with the rest of this stuff that's coming out. Why is that not happening? Why is he not being treated by mainstream media like he has sold these records? That's a problem. What I was going to say, though,
this on Rock the Bells radio. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to do some simple math, right? So let's just say we got 1,000 people in the room for our listening party, right? Mm-hmm. We go through the album. That's 1,700 streams, right? I'm sorry, not 1,700. That's 17,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
that's 17,000 streams right there.
Yes, Don't tell me that doesn't affect things. No. That affects things, especially like in this climate, like that we're in now. Like it does. But this is what I'm saying. And LL Cool J said this. LL started Rock the Bells Radio because our legends deserve to be treated the way that rock legends are treated. And that's what I mean. Like when he's on Store Run and he's saying, like, mention my name next to, like, I'm supposed, no, it's like, no, that's what he is in this climate, though. It's like, no, he is at a John Lennon, Paul McCartney, Bob Dylan, Bono, David Bowie. Like, no, he is at that level in this craft. Mike, I was in Charlotte for my birthday when the Rolling Stones were in town for my 40th birthday. You know what the whole talk of the whole city was while I was up there? It wasn't just that the Rolling Stones were in town. It's that Mick Jagger actually went to a bar, Mike. That was it. That's all it took for him to set the whole city on fire, Mike.
Just go to
Mick
a bar.
Jagger, no, the joke goes, and so Mick Jagger went to a bar. No, Mike, the end. That's all Mick Jagger had to do.
Where's the punchline?
Mike, to make the newspaper, all media outlets, front page, everybody talking about, my aunt talking about it, my cousin that's in college talking about Mick Jagger, Mike. Like that's who he is. He's Mick Jagger level, and it's like these motherfuckers who are like lesser than him in the media aren't acting like it.
You're right.
Where they do that at? Like where they do that at?
The Raisin Head says Griselda is already a top 5 crew in hip hop history. It is blasphemous to put Conway in the top. Did he say is all right? All right, it's all right. He said it's blasphemous to put Conway in the top 20 in regards to rap ability. Is it blasphemous? Excuse me. He said, is it blasphemous to put Conway in the top 20 in regards to rap ability? Is it blasphemous to have Benny in the top 20, period? I don't think so. I love the love. Listen, I think that from rap ability, I would say Conway probably has a better top 20 rap ability argument than Benny does on a top 20 all time.
Correct.
Yeah. Blue Collar Hustler says, Coop, when you first saw the leaked track list, what were your thoughts? Did you think it was real or fake? And now that it's real, what are your evolved thoughts?
I didn't think it was real, but I think I've spoken to that. It was about the boldness of the titles. Mm-hmm. It was about me miscalculating the number because I remember the plug telling me it was going to be 15 tracks most likely, and I saw 16 plus the bonus, and then I missed the fact that it was an interlude. So some of it was just fatigue and my misgiving, and it's the boldness of it. That's what I mean. It's like, oh, Michael and Quincy, Ghetto Reporter, I'm on Fire. I'm like, oh, those are bold titles.
Yeah.
Those are bold titles.
36 Chambers says, waiting for 11:11 surprise from Jay-Z called Hove did. Possibly.
You know what? I want to mention this too, Mike. And this is what I mean about how this streaming thing affects everybody. And I'm going to confirm this with the plug because I'm going to ask her tonight or in the morning at some point. I want us to get back up on our Spotify channel because I realized that, I was kind of doing it for fun and for the love, but it's like now that we've had this conversation, I think the importance of our Spotify page is like the best way that we can probably support a lot of these artists who we love by posting. Like Mike, listen to what I'm saying, but I'm gonna start getting on my track list game again. Maybe like start doing more commemorative stuff for birthdays and for albums and stuff. But Mike, every time we do one of these versus battles, like I'm telling you now, this Public Enemy, Eric B. and Rakim track list we just did, I'm going to put it up on Spotify.
Yeah, that should be a playlist.
Because I just realized it's like, oh no, us putting it up there and the streams that it can occur for those guys, it matters.
It does.
And if people will follow it like we've been wanting them to, because I'm going to be honest with you, the only reason that I don't keep up with our Spotify and really get into the track list like that, because not enough people have been behind us with it.
Yeah.
It's like I kind of go where our people take us. The people are here on YouTube, and so that's where I spend most of my behind the scenes time. But if the people really want to start helping support all the artists and not just Nas, I'd be happy to do playlists every week of our favorite shit and of our versus shit. Like, it's not a problem for me, Mike. I got so many playlists like on deck that I just put to the side because I'm like, ain't nobody even paying attention to our playlists like that. They're just watching the YouTube channel, so I'm just gonna focus on that.
Right. Well, for the people that are in here right now, go to the Spotify. If you got Spotify, I know I'm an Apple Music person, and I might need to do some playlists on there.
I mean, Mike, we got a whole According to Hip Hop account.
Yeah, so Yeah,
I
probably
don't
do both, right?
value
So if you're on Spotify specifically right now, you can go to According to Hip Hop's page and subscribe to that too.
Yeah,
Um,
cost me nothing.
Boxing costs you nothing. Boxing Trav says, "It's Mine" from Mobb Deep and Nas is also inspired by The Girl Is Mine. It sure is. Thank you. The Girl Is Mine is important. It is, man. DJ Tim Space King says, "I'm tired of Illmatic and I'm tired of It Was Written. Let him grow."
That's what I'm saying. So, like Mike, I have what I like to say my kicks, but I have to tell you the truth, Mike. It's rare that I like cut Illmatic on and play Illmatic from end to end. It's rare that I cut It Was Written on and play it from end to end. You know the main reason why it really hasn't happened the last few years, Mike? Because he been doing fish shit. Why the fuck would I play Illmatic when he's hot right now? Like this, like he's saying on the record, I'm pretty certain I'm on fire. He's on fire right now in live time. So it's like all I need is like my fixes. And like I'll tell you what my fixes are, Mike. I'll be wanting to hear The World Is Yours and The Setup. And usually after I hear that, fix done. Good. Play the new shit. Next.
Sean with the super chat says, "Hey guys, I think Nas and Tupac have the greatest voices in hip hop."
Need to hear the setup though.
You know, I know you're really big on saying that Tupac has the best voice in hip hop, or one of the best voices in hip hop.
Him, Big, and Meth. Yeah, him, Big, and Meth.
I'm with you on the Method Man. I've got Rakim there, man. I think Rakim's voice is incredible.
I get what you're saying.
And I got Chuck D there
I love his
too.
pitch. I love his tone. It's Big Pac and Meth for me. I don't know how else to say it.
I'm cool with Big being in there too. Big's voice is incredible.
Yeah, Big Pac and Meth are my top three. Like I would probably, if I was picking in order, I would probably go. Yeah, Mike, I'd probably go Pac.
Really? Okay.
I probably would, like if push came to shove, because when I'm thinking about Big's voice, I'm like coupling that with that, like that silky ass delivery, Mike. You know what I'm saying? Someone with Big with Meth and Big's flow is so like fluid and so slick that you like it goes with the voice so well, but just Pac's voice within itself, like the dude that's on Hail Mary, Mike. You know what I'm saying? Can't nobody make you feel like that and come that clear through. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not gruff like DMX is when he's talking that way. There's something still clear and crisp about come with me. Like he just got it, Mike. He just got it.
I got Cube, Slick Rick in that conversation too.
Yeah, they can all be in that combo. I'm cool with that.
LP says Nas tried it on KD. When he got the same results, he said, F it. And his way moving forward, still giving shade after he gave them access. Shaking my head. Yeah. I guess he's talking about Hot 97. I mean, because again, I remember when KD1 came out, they rolled out the red carpet. And I'm like, why is the same thing not happening for KD2? Deontay Smith says, do you think that Takeoff service being tomorrow will take some of the attention away from KD3's release? I don't think so. And rest in peace to Takeoff, man. They're having his service at State Farm Arena in Atlanta, which is a grand gesture. So I'm sure the whole city is going to show up for that and some more, I would imagine. The Raisin Head says, Mike and Coop, stop it. Media outlets love the eggs and turkey bacon at Rock Nation brunches too much. They ain't going to give Nas his props. Man, that turkey bacon must be real good over there, man. I don't think I've ever seen any food there. Like all of the pictures that I've seen, off the top of my head, I might have seen like a buffet line at the brunch, but I don't think I've seen anybody with a plate though.
It's a little salmon and eggs, Mike, preferably. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how I like a little, maybe some grits. You know what I'm saying?
Croquettes.
Like hash browns.
Did they post a menu one time? I think I don't know.
I'm pretty certain like Ciroc and whatever and Moet Hennessy sponsored it. I mean,
well, I'm sure that you had the what's it called, the Ace of Spades, with your with your
No, I thought he's done
mimosas.
with them. I thought he's done with them.
But I'm saying at the previous brunches before that,
Oh, yes.
you know. So I think we probably had some
Gold bottles at
mimosas
previous.
brought to you by Ace of Spades, I'm sure.
Were they tropical mimosas, Mike, or were they regular mimosas?
I don't know.
But
But whatever the mimosas are,
pineapple juice and rum with your mimosa, maybe.
whatever the mimosas were, they're too good to invite, KD2 interview. Beats by Nobody with the super chat says, I'm not the biggest Nas fan, but I am really excited to hear this new album. Love the show as always, and I love that y'all give respect to the GOATs in the game. Of course. That's what we're here for. Mad Max with the super chat says, Tana Talk 3 and From a King to a God are classics. And an unpopular opinion, Burden of Proof, people hated on it because it was Hit Boy. But that album is the one. I forgot Hit Boy did that whole thing. And you might be talking about me, Mad Max, because I did kind of hate on the fact that Hit Boy did the whole thing. And because I wanted to hear the Tana Talk 3 type of, Benny. Rubber bands and weight Benny.
So I'll tell you what. First of all, Mad Max, one of our younger followers, great ears, because outside of Pray for Paris, I would probably go From a King to a God and Tana Talk 3 as well on that upper echelon of Griselda stuff. What I would tell you is that styles make fights. And I told you is that when I listen to Benny's album with Hit Boy, I could just hear very clearly the chemistry that Nas and Hit Boy had together. So one of the biggest problems with Benny's album with Hit Boy is that it came after KD1 and not before. Because the stuff with Nas just sounded better and more well paired.
Yeah. Well, obviously their chemistry is undeniable. They're going at it for a fourth time.
And I repeat, there's a Benny and Nas record out there somewhere.
I'm going to say
Conway
this,
with a Nas record.
I would imagine.
Conway the only one with a Nas record. Because think about it. KD1 and Burden of Proof is like doom doom. Yeah.
Right. What I was going to say though, Coop, again, I think I said this last year when Magic came out. Hit Boy really impressed me with that one. He impressed me with KD2 as well, how he was able to kind of, do what he did on like Nobody and just make records that fit for the mood. It was a really impressive production job on KD2. But that Magic production job, he impressed me even further. I didn't know he had that in him from end to end.
Really?
Yeah. From end to end, I mean, he fit right in the pocket where what Nas does best. And that was impressive. And you know what? I think that what Magic did, it ended all of that premier Nas talk. Because even with KD2, as dope as it is, it kind of left that open like, well, shit, I still want to hit a hardcore Nas. Well, Hit Boy made the whole Magic. And that was impressive.
No, but this is what I mean about what's... Okay, so I kind of agree with you, but I kind of don't, because what was really beautiful about KD2 to me was that I'm very clear that if you insert a Large Professor, a Pete Rock, a DJ Premier, style of producer, the album's not going to be as good or sound the same. That's where I realized he had really grown. It's a modern day classic from him. It has none of the components that you typically look from production wise, fundamentally from a classic Nas album. And that's part of why I love that. I told you, Mike, when Death Row East come on, I was like, are these niggas giving me some shit I can ride to on a Nas album off rip going into the Pressure and Death Row East? No, Mike, that's riding music. I'm like, oh.
You know, at the end of the year. So
as much as I love Magic and Magic's production, Mike, like Mike, he's never sounded comfortable doing tracks like Brunch on Sunday the way he does on Brunch on Sunday. Those types of records have usually have kept some albums from achieving that top level of classic status in a lot of people's minds. No, KD2 ain't missing that.
No, I agree with you. And I think even at the end of the year, I was conflicted where I actually, if I remember correctly, I picked KD2 as album of the year over Magic simply because it was just more rounded. You know what I'm saying?
The people broke the tie. I told you I just couldn't ignore the bar work on Magic, and I picked Magic, and the people sided with me and said Magic, and that's why we chose Magic over KD2.
Right.
You got outvoted by me and by the people.
And I understand that because I was torn too, but just things that I think make up album of the year, I think KD2 exhibited that slightly better.
Right.
But
no, and
I personally like Magic more.
Mike, I don't even know why Illmatic is trending. It's like, you want to know what record I play?
It's propaganda. It's propaganda. That's why it's trending.
Yeah. Like when it rains outside, Mike, I literally play Ugly now. You know what I'm saying? It's like I really play Brunch on Sunday. You feel what I'm saying? It's like, no, he got shit to do. Mike, I told you how I feel about everybody that knows how I feel about Death Row East, Mike, it's Death Row East.
Imagine being in your late 40s, 49 or whatnot, respectfully, and people keep trying to bring up an album that you made when you were 19 and you're making albums
when you were 16, 17.
It's like, come on, guys. Like, did you not just hear the last 2-3 years? Come on. You're not paying attention. 36 Chambers with the super chat says, do y'all think that the listening party format is one you might adopt long term for A2HH? This seems like a great idea to engage for everyone. I think so. I think there's some really great possibilities for it, and I think that there's no better album to launch it than this, to be real.
I mean, how about this? I really want to do it like in a manner where it's kind of being done right now, where it's like, well, if we're going to do it, it needs to be right. Mm-hmm. And so it's like it needs to be beneficial, like not just for us, but for the artist.
Right.
And I would actually hope to have an established relationship with people, because I'm going to tell you what, Mike, I've done all of this with a little bit of sour grapes, and I'm going to tell you why. How the fuck all these people been telling us no, but Nas people telling us yes? Like on our side as journalists. It's like, Mike, how many people there? Mike, there are people in his stratosphere that were supposed to interview with us that have turned us down or just did not show up when they said they were going to show up, Mike. But I'm very, very clear on this, Mike. There are people that are definitely not Nas that ain't been fucking with us, but we've been fucking with them. And it's like, oh, I hope that stops.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, what you gonna tell me? You gonna tell me you too big for me? When Mass Appeal just retweeted us out and Hit Boy, you too big for me? Because I'll tell you what, for whatever anybody may feel about Hit Boy, Mike, you do understand that like the definition of modern day rap stadium music to people outside of this hip hop genre is when the beat for niggas in Paris comes on.
Well, I mean, based on the work that's been done, Hit Boy's a legend.
Right, that's what I'm saying. No, Mike, just off that alone, you get what I'm saying? Like, outside of this genre, people's idea of what stadium music in the modern hip-hop era sounds like, Mike, is to drop the beat, the niggas in Paris. Who's the author of that beat?
Yeah.
Well, he retweeted us yesterday. I mean, Mike, like as soon as, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, don't tell me that it's like you're too big for us at this point, like would be my thing. Like with it, because it's like, well, if it's beneficial for them, don't tell me it's not beneficial for you because you're not them. Like every time I go to a baseball game, basketball, football game, I hear niggas in Paris. Like that beat drops. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We all know who Nas is as an MC. And so I think some of these people who aren't maybe doing the numbers that they're doing might be doing themselves a real disservice by not fucking with us. But maybe we need to use this as a litmus test with, Nas and his team to show them like, no, it's beneficial for you to actually fuck with us. We actually have a lot of the grassroots that you're looking for.
Yeah.
Which is where, guess what, Mike, hip hop started and was built.
Exactly. The people that are going to fuck with the music. You know what I'm saying? Like all the gimmicks and all that stuff, like that stuff is short term. But the people who are really going to rock with the music, that are going to really take your music to that next plateau and continue to stream your music and continue to play your music and not say that it's old after a week, those are the people that we're talking to, and those are the people that are joining our show and listen to the rebroadcast, and the ones that are in here, the dedicated ones. And so it may behoove some artists who want to be notably, just championed for the music they're making, to rock with us on platforms like this. Yes.
Yeah.
I think it'll be mutually beneficial. We'll have fun too. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I mean, I think the plug probably find this out from talking to me. It's like, oh, no, I'm a regular ass guy. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like we regular dudes, you know what I'm saying? It's like, talk game and chemistry is high level and extraordinary in my opinion. But, for the most part, ordinary people doing ordinary things that want the things other people want out of life and really want this hip hop thing to progress forward. And it's like, no, like, I mean, like, I don't just want to see Nas win. It's like, no, I want to see everybody win. And anybody that knows me knows that about me. It's like, I'm all about our culture and our people and the people attached to us and the people who want to see us win moving forward. And if there's a way that we can contribute, like even if we help boost things like 1%, Mike, I would be proud of that, because that means that we took something that we did and helped impact the culture for a greater good. Exactly. Because the greatest MC of all time is good for our culture.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Peter Parks with the super chat says, the hip hop urban media has always been trash. We need to start naming names. I mean, I think we did name some names.
Oh, we've been naming names.
Yeah. I mean, you know,
I want money from niggas
our
who have been sending people to steal my shit. Like, the plug told me, the plug is the one that told me, like, hey, she's like, yeah, Ebro got interns that do that, like, pull up and steal your shit. She's like, so he's not stealing your shit, Coop. You need not have a problem with him. You need to have a problem with the people that they hire that need to keep their job, that pull up in spaces like According to Hip Hop and take you all's content and feed it to the top. But here's the reality of the matter. We're also talking to Nas's people. We just got a retweet from Hit Boy and a repost from Mass Appeal. It's like, oh, no, everybody officially knows who we are if they didn't know. So it's like, there is no saying that you do not know anymore.
Yeah, you know. Ray Rims with the super chat says, I hope I didn't cross one of you brothers. My super chats, cash apps, have slowed because they were being ignored. I try my best to stick with the topics. No, you're good, Ray Rims. You ain't crossed nothing.
Yeah.
It's all good.
I'm wondering what's wrong with our database or our system. Like, no, you good, fam.
Beats by Nobody says, Drake on Her Loss took a shot at Westside Gun with Paris/Fashion. They have also had a Cold War beef going back to Scorpion. You know what? I was listening to that album, I think it was Friday night after our show.
The Scorpion?
No, not Scorpion.
Okay, I was about to say, why? Why would you do that?
I was talking about Her Loss. And I forgot what song it was. But Drake was clearly going at Kendrick. Again, it wasn't even the song you were talking about. I started listening to the album a little different. I'm like, oh yeah, he's going at Kendrick. It's wide open season. I think that, like you said, this is a moment for him where he's like, oh no, this dude just dropped let's just say it, the weakest album of his catalog.
Yeah,
time to go.
It's a dud, Mike. Mm-hmm. It's a dud. I'm sorry. Like, how about this? I'm gonna tell you, like I told the dude that pulled up in our YouTube comments. If you have to use accolades to tell me that an album is good the year the album comes out, it's officially not any good. It's like, oh, but he got this. He got nominated for this, that, and the other. It's like, oh, you ain't naming no records, fam. This hip hop.
Yeah, you're right.
It's rap.
Ray Rams says,
Mike, when you be like when you ask me, Mike, it's like, what did you think of Magic? It's like, Mike, I was like, did you hear how Speechless came on, Mike? I was like, did you hear that shit? I was like, you hear the nigga agility on the mic? Mike, I immediately just started going to the records and shit he was doing on the songs, because when your shit is like that, Mike, that's where you go to. You don't go to know, oh, well, you know, he got nominated.
The truth, you know what I mean? Ray Realm says, will tomorrow's trivia stream be Nas exclusive? We can do that. We can definitely do that. Let's see what else we got before we get on to this next topic. And I want to close out, you know, just making sure that everybody has all the information for the stream too. Jay Short says, what do you expect from Hit Boy on this album? That's a good question, because after Magic, you know what? I'm going to say this. I expect a combination of Magic and KD2. Now, I could be off, but that's just what my ears expect, just based off of those being the last two that we heard. I don't think they're going to go full Magic on this, but I do think we're going to get some elements of that production style on it. What say you?
I think it's definitely going to be more of an album mode Hit Boy. Like I told you, you know, from the plug, it's like, well, Magic got made for all those people that was talking about Illmatic. So there is, I told you, Michael, even when we did the breakdown of it, I was like, well, I don't want to hear about him needing to work with other producers other than Hit Boy after Magic, because he just did on one album, Mike, he just did what you've been asking him to do with Pete Rock, DJ Premier, Large Professor, and Q-Tip and LES respectively. He just did that on one album. So let's stop having, and I said that, Mike, I said, let's stop having that DJ Premier, Pete Rock, let's stop having that talk. Hit Boy just provided us with the answer on Magic.
With all those skills.
Every element, Mike, that those guys did to make Illmatic great, he implemented into Magic on a production level. And I think it's really one of the most understated hip-hop production jobs of the modern era because of that.
And that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying.
No, I get what you're saying. He took an old formula, Mike, that people have been dying for, and he actually updated it and made it palatable for the same MC to canvas over it again, and he did it by himself as a producer. Mike, that is a RZA level of a production job.
I agree with you. Very impressive. LP with the super chat
says... That's a
says...
Liquid Swords type of pull-off. You feel what I'm saying? Like, as a producer. Like, how about this? Like, doing KD2 and Magic is very, like, Purple Tape and Liquid Swords, like, production-wise, Mike. It's like, oh, you did that and then did that?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you did this beautiful sequenced album shit, and then you did this dark, gritty, dense hip-hop rap shit, like, on top of it. And it's like, really, they both on some rap shit?
In the same year.
In the same year, Mike, months apart, the Purple Tape and Liquid Swords. Is very RZA-ish what he just did.
Yeah. LP with the super chat says, I'm a Cash App 3 people cash to get Spotify Premium on Friday. All right. 36 Chambers with the super chat says, does Cube or Rakim have the best rap voice too? Yeah, I got them in the conversation.
We had those up there.
Yeah. Let's see. I think I might have. Did I skip somebody, or was it Blue Collar Hustle?
Hey, just real quick. You know, I know a lot of y'all say things in jest, but you know, first of all, the plug has somebody, and it's really not fair for y'all to be like using that rhetoric, like in that tone. Like, I'm gonna have to check y'all about that. Y'all need to watch y'all tone and show her some respect. We have not even met face to face or even talked on the phone, and y'all just need to show some respect right now, like to that woman, because it's like, I'm gonna tell you just like this. Well, you can't talk to my younger sisters that way about some dude that they talking to in business, and so you can't talk about her that way, because she really just helped this platform as much as anybody ever had, and she deserves respect on this platform, like now.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, like now.
Blue Collar Hustle with the super chat says, did you see Hit Boy retweet the stream party? Yeah. That was good looking out. DJ Tim Space King says, ugly. I've been playing on repeat from Magic because the music game is ugly. Well, they're coming back. Man with the super chat says, Cube, Guru, DMX, Snoop, Chuck D, Busta, Meth, and Red's voice. I liked Redman's voice around like, 92 to maybe I would say 96-ish. I like him on Doc's the Name too. But 96 Redman, that voice is crazy. Jay Short with the super chat says, I think Eric Sermon would have a better versus against DJ Quick. Both have the funk zap influence, and you could pull from the 90s and 2000s cuts.
No, hold on, Mike. I mean, not being funny. It's like, no, like, we've talked about making spaces open and available to women. And so y'all are going to be mindful about how y'all speak about women in this chat, because part of the problem with hip hop is because guys think they can pull up and say and do whatever. That's part of the problem. We're going to address some of those problems with how we dictate the format and the respectability level. This is a grown-up show, not a child show. We don't talk about childish things here.
Man, Max with the super chat for sure. Mad Max says, best voices are Pac, Cube, LL voices. I prefer Pac, Chef G, and DMX / Pop Smoke. Method Man has the best flow, though. I don't think Big's voice I don't like Big's voice like that. I think Big has been
best voice, but you don't like Big's voice?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you can like one and not like the other, really, because it does comparable things for me. It's that kind of like molasses over the track type of voice. It's like thick and heavy and rhythmic. But, you know, I guess that's fascinating. That's fascinating that you would separate the two. Like, usually people who love Method Man's voice love Biggie's voice too. But
I think they both got great flows. I think Method Man's flow is a little bit better. You know what's funny? We were just celebrating Liquid Swords, and I found this quotable up there. Speaking of Method Man, you see that on the screen?
I don't, but I don't need to. It's probably I breaks it down to the bone gristle, ill speaking, scud missile, heat seeking.
Yep.
Ronnie blazing, hip hop quotable, shadow boxing.
Yeah.
Night look like Wes Craven, niggas gunning. My third eye seen it coming before it happened. You know about them fucking statin kids, they smashing everything, huh? In every shape, form, of fashion. Everybody talking about they flashing. Is you busting still is you flashing?
Talking out your asshole.
Like delivery wise, that's some of the best shit ever.
You should have learned about the flow in PC Afro, Italian Stallion, chinky eyes, snot nose. From my naps, put a bunion on my big toe. I keeps it moving. Know just what the fuck I'm doing. Rap insomniac. Need to catch a nigga snoozing. Slip the cardiac, arrest me. Exorcist, hip hop possess me. Crunch a nigga like a Nestle. You know my steez. Burning to a third degree. Sneaky ass, alley cat, top pedigree. The head toucher. Industry party bum rush. Yo. Yo. I mean, is that more lyricism, flow, or voice, or what? Like,
it's everything, Mike. It's also, you want to know what? This is what I mean.
That's the verse that made me want to be a rapper, to be real.
That's the first verse that I ever wrote down, Mike, because his delivery was so crazy. I couldn't figure out like what he was doing. But what I'll tell you is that one of the sneaky things about that verse is word usage, like the words he chose to use, and placement of the words.
Meth has always been high on that.
Right.
To me.
Well, I think this is where you saw him like go other stratosphere with it, where you can tell he had been rapping at a high level for a while, because I breaks it down to the bone gristle. Like, first of all, like rap niggas wasn't talking like that in 1995. You understand? And then this is what I'm saying. He goes gristle, ill speaking, scud missile, heat sinking. Like he's just shit. Mike, it's like watching an ice skater like in their prime, just like go around the rink, like that's what it is. He's like, yeah, I got it.
You know,
it's like
you're
when
right.
You watch somebody like when they get it and they got it and it's good. That's what shadow boxing is. It's like he got it. That's his flow at its zenith.
I was gonna say, man, you know, I was in a duo and my partner in
whole
rhyme.
Song after a bar in there, Mike by Gangstar. Think about how dope that verse is.
Yeah.
You know my steez.
I was in a duo, and my partner in rhyme, Flawless, man, he made the statement one time when he was like, you know, at the peak of his talents, he was like, I'm like where Meth was on like Shadowbox, and like you feel that that's a comfortable level at his, like he could do anything at that point.
Mike, it's the fact that he had a whole nother flow on the third verse too. It's like he totally switched his flow up. The way he's rapping on the first verse of Shadowboxing is, and now he's rapping on the third verse. That's what I mean. He's
my mind started clicking. He just in a zone.
Strategy is mastered, the plot thicken. This be that woo shit. I don't give a cotton picking. Fuck about a nigga trying to size a nigga up. I hold my own. Hard hat protect. Oh, he's crazy. He's everywhere. Literary devices are high.
Like
voice, delivery, word places, usage. It's like, yeah, it's like that song lyrically, like those three verses, that's some of rap's best stuff. Because think about it, it's like nobody talks about the jizzle on there.
His verse is crazy.
Stellar.
I slayed MCs back in the Rack Room era. Whew. Ray Rams with the super chat.
Backs like Hen for Terra. Mike, Hen for Terra? Yeah. That's old school wrestling shit.
Most rap niggas came loud, but I'm heard.
So fold out. Round them off to the nearest third. Now we're doing mathematics on the beat.
Check these non-visual niggas with tapes in a portrait.
Blood the seminar trying to orbit this corporate industry. What the niggas can't see must break through like the woo unexpectedly. You know what he's talking about? He's talking about them being slighted for being grimy.
Mm-hmm.
He talks about that on Protect Your Neck too. Talking about, hold on, who's your A&R? A mountain climber who plays an electric guitar, but he don't know the meaning of dope when he's looking for a suit and tie rap that's cleaner than a bar of soap. And I'm the dirtiest thing in sight. Matter of fact, bring out the girls and let's have a mud fight. Like he's like, you know, he's bigging up how grimy the crew was and how they were breaking the mold, because that's when rap had cleaned itself up a little bit. A lot of niggas looking.
Well, speaking of which, you know, today is the day, right? Today is the day that 36 Chambers dropped 29 years ago, and Midnight Marauders dropped that same day. So
I think we should flesh into our versus battle and our greatest albums conversation because
and then talk about that. Yeah.
I have both of those albums penciled down, coincidentally enough.
Okay, well, let me go through this super chat and then we'll get to that. And then we'll, man, we really in it today. Ray Realm says, speaking about the business of hip hop, what are you guys' thoughts on Math Hoffa's situation? The Math Hoffa situation. I'm not too familiar with the situation. What's going on over there?
Well, supposedly, Math Hoffa has been given a $3 million deal. Supposedly, to be exact, because Joe Budden called Hoffa live from Joe Budden's podcast, and I watched some of it. And just from what I gathered from that, it appears that $2.7 million was on the table, but the podcast is dissolved, Mike, because apparently guys have not been in contact with each other, according to Hoffa. And according to Hoffa, when deals have been getting brought to the table, he's been including the team, but he's also mentioned that the team is off doing other things in their own shows and podcasts now. And so it's the, I don't know which side it resides on. I'm just telling you what I heard from watching Budden's podcast. It's the typical rhetoric when things fall apart, to be honest with you, Mike. The plug and I talked earlier today about how Rory and Mal and Budden fell out behind the scenes. And to be honest with you, Mike, it's always over money and miscommunication. Yeah. To be honest with you, and it appears to be another issue of money and miscommunication. And here's what I mean about money. It all usually traces back to money because it's like Hoffa referenced that he hadn't heard from guys. You know what I'm saying? Because guys were off doing their own thing. And that's what happens when it's like, well, where money is on the table for other people to do other things. You know what I'm saying? So he's like, well, they kind of got out of track with home base is pretty much what it seems like Hoffa is saying. But I haven't heard what the other guys have had to say either. I just heard what Hoffa said on Budden's podcast. I'm
going to look into it. I didn't even know all this was going on.
And he still it was tossing the 2.6 or 7 around like it was supposedly, you know what I'm saying? But this all comes back to the fact that it's like, oh, well, people probably heard about the bag, felt like they deserved some of the bag. And when he did, I don't know how it unfolds, but usually when something like this happens, it's usually a miscommunication and it's usually about money. And both of those things are usually intertwined and this situation looks no different.
Well, it's interesting that he talked to Joe because from what you're saying, sounds like Joe's been through something similar.
I can neither confirm nor deny those things, but Hoffa definitely picked up when Joe called, and Joe definitely told him that he was live.
Yeah. CJ Kidd says, this Coop smashing the plug spew is disrespectful, guys.
Yeah, we already covered that. Yeah.
Let's see. Let me get some of these other super chats, and we'll just carry on with this because I had fun with this versus that we did. CJ Kidd with the super chat says, recently there was a top 10 ATL hip hop albums list. Have you guys ever listed what guys feel are the top 10 ATL hip hop releases? I feel like we've talked about that, and I didn't see that list you're talking about. No, I don't think I came across that one. I'll say this, and this album celebrated its anniversary this week as well with Liquid Swords. If we talking hip hop, Kumanai's number 1, and I think Soul Food by Goody Mob's number 2, and then Southern Playalistic, and then we can start talking about the rest. Yeah.
So top 10 Atlanta albums?
Yeah.
Well, you have 4 Outkast solo albums and Soul Food, so that's 5 of the 10. I'm not joking. That's 5 of the 10.
It's real.
Yeah. You have 4 Outkast albums and you have Soul Food, so that's 5 of the 10. I would probably go lean on trap music after that.
Yeah, I was going to go there after that. I'll leave Stankonia out, man. We
can leave Stankonia out, and okay, that's fine. I don't think that's
I want to be
true.
fair.
I'm sorry. Even for what you feel about Stankonia.
No, Stankonia is great, but I'm saying I want to think about it before I just throw Stankonia in there. Now, the first 3 definitely.
I'm Mike. It's just I want you to think about this when you're throwing Stankonia out. On those 10 albums that you think are better, you're gonna have to show me Bombs Over Baghdad and So Fresh, So Clean.
No, I feel you.
So no, that's not happening on any Atlanta rap album that you're about to talk about. Stankonia, Stankonia is only low end when you're talking about Outkast catalog. It's high end at everything else, including how about this? Even if it's 10, Mike, it's 10. It's probably 10.
If
would
we
say
put
Future with
Stankonia
Dirty
up
Sprite.
against Thug Motivation 101, Stankonia is the better album.
Yeah, Stankonia is better than 101. What do you think about Dirty Sprite, Future?
It's very important.
I would put that in there.
Yeah.
My little sister's the one to get me to understand that shit was important.
It's important.
It is.
I think there is a case for, and I hate to be so loaded on specific artists, but I think there's a case for King as well. And maybe even Urban Legend.
Thinking there might be another. No, I'm with King being in there. I was trying to think about which Luda album is the best album because it's back for the first time. Do you think that that's top 10?
Luda's a tricky situation, man. Because there was not, and I'm going to speak just for somebody who was in the city. Shit, even in radio at that time. There's not a Luda album that just had the city on fire. And that's why I kind of paused on Stankonia too. And I get it from Stankonia being the quality. But if we start gauging it from what it meant to the city, now if we did that, then I would put Thug Motivation 101 over Stankonia.
If we talk about what it did for the city and like how the city took to it, then yeah. But if we talk about the quality of the albums, then no.
Yeah. So I guess we're having two different discussions there. We'll have to think about that. We need to come with our list next. Not next
episode. Then we got to think about Thugs and Gunna's role in this too.
Yeah. Thug, Gunna's role in this. Future's role in this.
Oh, we just said Dirty Sprite. That would be the Future album, I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's something to think about.
There a 2 Chainz project worth throwing in the mix?
Might be. But again, we can't leave out stuff like Kilo's Organized Bass either.
I was actually thinking about remember PA's album?
Yeah. Which one?
The Parental Advisory one.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say My Life, Your Entertainment. That was the first. Big on that. That was the first album that T.I. showed up on.
I wasn't as big on that one as other people was, but I mean, I liked it. It was
Sundown
cool.
was great. Talk about the
people
record.
Are asking. I forgot, Mike. We have a following that is not in the United States. When we are saying we are pulling up for the station head live at midnight, that is Eastern Standard Time. Yes. We are in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah, we're going on New York time here for Nas. D. Douglas with the super chat says Nas gives me vibes of Prince, Michael, Stevie, and the Beatles.
You want to know why that is? Because he's arguably going to be like, how many rappers going to have a greatest hits catalog in the 90s, the 2000s, the 10s, and the 20s?
Right.
That's very Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonders, Michael Jackson, Beatles, Bob Dylan type of territory. Yep. That's what I mean is it's like Mick Jagger. It's like, no. You need to start treating him media-wise. This is what this is all about. I even said this last week, Mike, even for us talking about all the streaming stuff, the streaming and the music and the information of how to do it is still the second story in all this. The number one story is still the media not treating him like Mick Jagger, Paul McCartney, David Bowie, Bob Dylan,
because
Prince,
the media, let's just be real, even though we have a lot of options.
He is that in this genre.
Right. Even though we have a lot of options out there, mainstream media still controls the public narrative for the most part. And if they were to treat Nas as they should, we wouldn't even have these issues. 36 Chambers.
If the media, hold on, Mike. If the media treated him the way that they were supposed to, Mike, we wouldn't even be sitting right here having this conversation because I would have never even got plugged up to the plug because he would already be getting the shit that he's already earned and deserved. That's what I'm saying. It's just the fact that we're here is like, I don't like it. I don't think people understand that. It's like, no, we can talk about the streaming and the music. No, the media and the slander is still the thing, and I want people to watch it and watch Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars, Mike. It's like, watch how many people don't promote it and then come up with these fucking mid-level reviews and then try to talk about Magic as if they lauded Magic when it came out.
Right.
We need to be the ones to be right here. It's like, oh, you motherfuckers were nowhere around when Magic came out.
We watching.
Be like, oh, you thought Magic was great? You should have fucking said it and posted it when it happened then.
Yeah.
Weak ass bitch. What's your favorite group say, Mike? Weak ass bitch.
When I say weak ass, you say bitch. 36. 36 Chambers with the super chat says Hit Boy really deserves to be held higher in the greatest producer of all time conversation. His catalog is massive. He's worked with most of the greats, and this Nas run is one of the best ever. I agree with that. I think he he has put in levels of work that I think that a lot of people aren't going to give him credit for that come from another era. I think the current era really recognizes what's going on, though.
Oh, Mike, when Mick Jagger showed up to the bar, he just went to the bar and grabbed the beer and went outside. Like, he didn't make a fuss about him being Mick Jagger. That's all it took. It took him walking into a building at a bar downtown, standing outside and having a beer. He was literally there for about an hour before people realized it was Mick Jagger. But, oh, Mike, when they realized it was Mick Jagger, the city was on fire. The entire city for my 40th birthday was on fire just because Mick Jagger walked into a bar and had a drink. Our Mick Jagger's dropping on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Kendall Outlaw.
Think about it. Like people admire how Mick Jagger has remained young through all these years and fresh and hip. Who's our Mick Jagger?
That's a good point.
Right. So he should be able to walk into a room and the shit should be on fire. It's like, oh, you know who that is, right? Like, that's how the shit's supposed to be with this media shit, Mike. It's supposed to be like, oh shit, Nas coming. Like, Nas.
It was for KD1, and then it just, for whatever reason. Kendall Outlaw says
they thought they were sending him out the pasture, Mike. I'm telling you, they thought they were sending him out the pasture. They were like, let's just give him a nice little send-off.
Yeah.
We've had to deal with this for a long time anyway.
Kendall Outlaw with the super chat says, would love to get another Nas joint from the Trackmasters someday. What's the last thing the Trackmasters made in hip hop? Like, I haven't heard a Trackmasters track in a minute, it feels like.
No, I don't mean to castigate Trackmasters. I love me the message and shootouts. Mm-hmm. But when people talk about 96 Nas, Mike, they're not talking about the message. They're not talking about shootouts. They're talking about the dude that made I Gave You Power and Take It in Blood. They talking about that guy. Like, that's the guy specifically that they are referencing. Like, 96 Nas, it's like, no, the dude that made Take It in Blood and I Gave You Power, specifically those two records, and they did not produce those records.
Ones Bundy says, GZA's verse deserved the quotable for that song. You know what? If we want to talk about just
quotables,
word for word, yes. But that flow that Meth came with, Mike, it was a scene stealer.
Mike, Liquid Swords is a hip-hop quotable. Have you heard Duel of the Iron Mike?
Yeah. Bars.
They all got quotables on Duel of the Iron Mike, Master Killer Deck, and GZA. Can I interest you in living in the world today? Unbalanced like elephants and ants on seesaws, Mike. No, there's hip hop quotables all through. Liquid Swords is one big hip hop quotable. The only man I hold wait for. Right, yeah. Ghost shit, Mike. RZA's shit. RZA's ending with the acronym protons, electrons always cause explosions. Peace.
Well, the quote I always love from that record.
Quotables all over Liquid Swords.
The quote I always love from that record was lively as if nothing ever surprised me, lounging between two pillars of ivory.
That's Killer Priest.
Killer Priest killed that shit.
Yeah, they all killed it. That's what I'm saying, Mike. Fourth Chamber.
So I didn't want to forget him.
Investigative Reports is a hip hop quotable.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole album. The whole album is just on some like extremely high level rap shit. Mike, we're gonna talk about Liquid Swords in a minute because let's talk about the
Let me get through these super chats and we'll just jump into this versus thing that we did. Mad Max says Meth talk different. Meth talks different than Biggie. Got that breath, that breathing thing that he do. I don't like Meth. I'm sorry. He says breathing thing that he do. I don't like Meth. You can put on any song, subgenre, it's fire. And Meth's style's more unique. I think he didn't like Biggie like that. Let's see where we at. The super chats, and then we'll move on. I think I saw another one. Because I know we covering a lot today. Antonio with the super chat says, I know I'm late on this, but Black Girl Lost Sample is a classic song from Stephanie Mills called Starlight. Yep, it is. That's not a bad beat.
From a
y'all
classic
tripping.
Song don't make the beat hot.
He said it's not a bad beat. Y'all tripping. It's more nostalgic though. You know what I'm saying? Like,
just because you take a sample from a hot song doesn't make the beat dope. So hold on, my boy Andrew, who I do the Mirror Music podcast with. This is what I mean about how serious it is with Mick Jagger. Andrew just texted me. Thirsty Beaver was the Mick Jagger bar. That's right down the street from where I grew up. You see how serious it is and how quick Andrew got back to me? He knew exactly what moment I was talking about. He knew exactly what bar Mick Jagger was up, because when Mick Jagger was at the bar, the city was on fire. Now, why the fuck don't we treat our icons and idols this way?
We will now. You know what I mean? And we're
Damn
here to
right.
correct that.
Something got to change about this. That's what I'm saying. Like, this shit needs to change.
I mean,
Starting
we've been
people.
talking about this in hip hop circles for decades, but now it's time to really change because now people
it's time to really
people
change
get
it.
to
It's
actually
like,
talk to each other. You know what I'm saying? We get to actually talk to the public. The problem is, I think the blocker is the media. The mainstream media doesn't allow us to go out there and be able to treat our legends like this, but we're going to change that.
Yeah.
Michael Williams.
That's what I'm saying. The people can change that. You can.
Michael Williams with the super chat says, Coop, I don't necessarily disagree. I'm just curious to why you rate Alfredo higher than Daytona. Where does the separation occur?
Oh, I believe I have them rated comparably. Mike, did I put Alfredo ahead of Daytona? I probably.
I don't, but maybe.
I don't think so. I think I have them. I mean, if I do, I have them like literally like one slightly ahead of the other. I'll tell you, Alfredo's longer, and that has something to do with it, but not longer by enough that I could even tell you that I prefer truly one over the other. There's seminal moments, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's peak Alchemist production, it's peak Ye production, it's both modern day classics in my opinion. Like I told you, it's like I'm cool with like Magic, Daytona, and Alfredo, and KD2, and probably Astro World or Victory Lap being my top 5 in this area. No, Pray for Paris. No, yeah. Pray for Paris, Alfredo, Daytona, Magic, KD2, Victory Lap, Astro World. Those are the modern day classics to me.
Okay.
I like those albums specifically. And so however you would want to mix and hosh-posh those albums, I'm not going to argue with it about too much. So they all deserve comparable recognition. Magic is the one that sticks out for obvious reasons.
And, I would say From a King to a God, honorable mention.
That would be the next album right outside of all of those, Mike, because I did think about mentioning that one. I just do not think that some of the production is held up as well as it has on the other albums. So that would be the next one.
I'm with that.
So what I would probably say, like, for me on a personal level, because, let's go in order of who I, like, probably enjoy listening to the most. Who I listen to the most, it'd probably go Magic, Daytona, Alfredo, Pray for Paris. If we're talking about the order that I would listen to the artist, you know what I'm saying? Then Victory Lap, then Astro World, then From a King to a God. But like all comparable. From a King to a God is just a step below those records to me.
Daytona's my number one in all the ones you listed, to be honest.
Over Pray for Paris?
It is. The bar work, the song structure, the production, it's perfect.
I'm going to have to take Magic, Mike, because here's what I mean is like the breathtaking moments are obvious. Like Speechless is obvious. You know what I'm saying? 4016 Building is obvious. The Truth is obvious. But Mike, on those other records, like Ugly, Mike, like on Ugly, it's like, no, I'm like, this is the guy that's the greatest MC of all time because he can take a song out of a word and take it so many fucking beautiful places. He's like, it's like, that's that GOAT talk that I look for like on albums. And so what separates Magic for me is records like Ugly and Hollywood Gangster, where he says stuff like Bohemian Grove, they couldn't get Nas to visit. You feel what I'm saying? It's like, when he talks like that real fly and slick on record, like Quick, I'm like, it's like, no, you can't fuck with that guy. And so I'm going to take Magic. I'm cool with taking Daytona after that. And then I'll probably take Alfredo and Pray for Paris at a tie.
Okay.
Because I think Pray for Paris is slightly better, but I prefer Alfredo, Mike. I do. Like, that's the shit that I listen to. Like 1985, Scotty Beam, Baby Shit. No, that's the shit that I listen to. You know what I'm saying?
I put Pray for Paris ahead of Alfredo, me personally.
No. I get you. I think Pray for Paris is a better album. I just prefer to hear Alfredo. And I don't think it's a better album by much. And Gibbs is part of the reason why Pray for Paris, like his contribution on there is like notable and noted.
Definitely. Jay Short with the super chat says, is there any room on a Nas Greatest Hits for KD3 tracks? I don't think A2HH has done a Nas Greatest Hits before.
Well, this is what I mean is that like one of the things that I might actually create tomorrow before I go to work, Mike, is that I might actually do a Nas Greatest Hits playlist by like, decade. Yeah. As in like, the best stuff that he's done album-wise in the 90s. and then the 2000s, and then 2010 to 2020, and then the stuff now, and then I might do another feature one, because if the thing is streams and he's the first person we're really getting behind, let's show the machine what we can do too by getting behind them all the way, not just with the streaming party, but with people thumping into our Spotify page to maybe play some of his best shit. I have a sick teenager upstairs, so I'm not going anywhere else tonight. So it's, we can she can help me pick out, she can listen to Nas and, like, you know what I'm saying, eat chicken noodle soup and shit. You know what I'm saying?
There it is.
And,
well, okay. While we're getting out of here, or not getting out of here, we're getting to the next thing, I want to go ahead and just leave people with where to go. It's going to be stationhead.com /A2HH Live, or just download the Station Head app, right? And you'll be able to find A2HH Live on there. And we're going to have this listening party midnight. We're going to listen to this thing together. And we're going to go track to track.
All the people asking about like sending them a link to Spotify. It's like, we shouldn't have to send y'all a link to Spotify. It's like, you literally just go to Spotify, download the app, subscribe, and type in according to hip hop. All of our stuff's going to come up that I've done, including older playlists that I have circulating. Like, I think I got like an Outkast versus Tribe playlist circulating in there, Mike. I think we have a Nas and Jay playlist circulating in there already.
I think
Matter of fact, we do, Mike, because it starts off with The World Is Yours and Dead Presidents. I know.
It does. I remember that.
So, yeah, we already got stuff up there. So it's like, yeah. But I'll start working on some playlists tonight, Mike. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
I told you the features are the fun part of going through Nas's catalog, Mike. And I realized something else, too. The 95 feature run that he's so lauded for, that was Illmatic, not Selling. He's on the Infamous and on the Purple tape for a reason. You know, the Infamous and the Purple tape outsold Illmatic, right?
It did.
Correct.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's get to the next thing. Ray Realms with the super chat says that recent Grammy pick dashed all my dreams of Jay/Nas collabo album. The male ego is a fragile entity. Do you think Jay will one up the KD series? I mean, just as a hip hop listener, I would love to hear that happen. But just based on, in my personal opinion, based on Holy Grail 444 and, Blueprint 3 being all the way back in 2009, I don't see that happening. I don't. It's like you asking me, I'm not going to be disrespectful, but I was just going to say, if you ask me, do I see LeBron James winning a championship with the Lakers this year, I would hope it happens, but I don't see it happen. Ones Bundy says, Freddie Gibbs' catalog is greater than Pusha T's catalog. All right, well, since we're talking about catalogs, Coop and I, we did on our Monday Patreon. He had Eric B. and Rakim. I had Public Enemy. And before people start naming The Saga Continues and stuff like that, Coop had to stick with just Eric B. and Rakim songs as a group.
Yes.
And from what I see, I think we still ended up with a tie. I'm getting some paper so I can go ahead and, make sure I tally this stuff right. I think we were at a tie, but let me go to round one, right? Round one, we started off with, you had I Know You Got Soul, because Coop started out because he won the previous week with Raekwon. I answered that with Public Enemy's Black Steel and the Hour of Chaos. I Know You Got Soul is winning over that 69% to 30%. Well, let's just round it up, 70 to 30. Surprised by that. I was surprised by that. I thought I had one with that. I really did. I thought I had one with Black.
No, I was a little worried when you played that record. I was like, this mother beep 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 beep.
Yeah, I thought I had one with that. But the people, they picked I Know You Got Soul.
I Know You Got Soul, special record.
It is a special record. And then you came with Don't Sweat the Technique, and I had Night of the Living Basshead. So Eric B. and Rakim up 2-0. And then you came with Move the Crowd. Then I came with Don't Believe the Hype. PE won that one 83% to like 17%. That one's, yeah. And then the next one, you played No Omega. I came with Brothers Gonna Work It Out. That was a blowout. 10-0.
Oh, I didn't get one vote?
Nah. Damn. So now we at 2-2, right? And so then you played Mahogany. I didn't really know what to play for Mahogany. You kind of
I know that was my switch up record. That's where I knew I had to play Mahogany on my side, and I knew I had to sneak it in. And something told me that if I played it on my second go round, the pace was going to be too heavy for me to sneak it in. And I was like, no, I need to end this round with Mahogany.
Yeah,
because it's one of his best songs. It just doesn't fit anywhere unless I sneak you with it. And
I was thinking, well, maybe I can beat it with by the time I get to Arizona, but I didn't. So Mahogany won that one, 67% to 33%. So we hit 3-2. And then it was my turn to go. I played my Uzi Weighs a Ton. And then you played my Melody. My Melody won that. Then I played Bring the Noise. You played Follow the Leader. I'm getting some heavy ones out of you here.
No, can I tell you what?
Yeah.
That's when it's like I started realizing who I was dealing with. When you played my Uzi Made a Ton, and I played my Melody, and then you played Bring the Noise right after, I was like, no. I was like, no. I was like, this nigga is not about to steamroll me on his run. Because that's what I felt like. And because I told you, my main regret and where I felt like I probably lost this, or potentially could have lost it because of where we sit right now, is because I played Follow the Leader right here because I was emotional. I was like, no. I was like, I'm not going to let him do that.
Bring the Noise is like, heavy, too. Like, that breakdown.
Yeah, because for me, Follow the Leader is a top 5 Rakim song, in my opinion. Not Let the Rhythm Hit Him. Like, that's not a top 5 Rakim song, but Follow the Leader is, yeah.
All right, and then I played Public Enemy #1. You played As the Rhyme Goes On. Public Enemy #1 got that. Then I played Prophets of Rage, and I Ain't No Joke out of that. So I Ain't No Joke won that one. Prophets of Rage is hard.
That's why I played I Ain't No Joke.
So then I played 911 as a joke, and then you played Ghetto. 911 as a joke won that. Musical Massacre, you played that, and then I played You're Gonna Get Yours. Public Enemy won that one. What You're Gonna Get Yours. Lyrics of Fury is what you played, and then I played Shut 'Em Down. Lyrics of Fury won, but I personally wish I would have played the Shut 'Em Down remix instead of the regular one.
Do you think you would have won?
I don't think I would have won, but I would have felt better.
You would have showed better, would have been a better showing?
I think that's the only misstep I feel like I made, you know, just being modest here. But
what did you lose by? What did you lose by on that one?
12-1. So it was 92.
Oh, no. So you got your ass whooped. That's why you was mad about how it went. Okay. Because
I
never counted up. You said that a few times to me. I'm like, Mike, did I whoop your ass with that record or something? Yeah. It's like apparently.
No, it wasn't even close.
Lyrics of Fury, Mike. Yeah. Shut 'Em Down remix wasn't about to get nothing but like one. It would have been like 9-3, Mike.
Then you played Set 'Em Straight, and I played She Watched Channel Zero. That was a blowout. You didn't even get a vote for that one. So now we're at 6-7. Then you played Casualties of War, and I played Louder Than a Bomb.
Hold on.
PE won that. So we're at 7-7 right now.
Hold on. I'm listening. I'm writing all the songs down in order so I do the playlist right
cool.
while we're actually here. Casualties of War. What did you play? Bomb? What?
I played Louder Than a Bomb.
Yeah, you did play that. I remember that. I didn't appreciate
that shit crazy. It's yours.
I didn't appreciate that at all.
Yeah.
Like, no, because I knew I was getting blown out the water when you played it.
Then you played the R, and then I played Terminator X on the Edge of Panic. Jeez.
I didn't win nothing on that one, did I?
Nah, you got one vote, 1-11. Then I played Burn Hollywood Burn. You played Know the Ledge. Lord. Yeah. Know the Ledge got that one.
Yeah.
Can't Trust It. And then you play Let the Rhythm Hit 'Em. Again, this is me being biased. I'm surprised that Can't Trust It lost, but Let the Rhythm Hit 'Em got that one. Let the Rhythm Hit 'Em was a tough record. But I had Can't Trust It as a high-level PE record.
No,
and then Rebel Without a Pause against Microphone Fiend. Rebel Without a Pause won that. Then Welcome to the Terror Dome and Paid in Full. Paid in Full won that. I understand it. Paid in Full is legendary. But me personally, it's another one I think that Welcome to the Terror Dome's a better song. But I think that Paid in Full does deserve to win that.
Mike, outside of Lottie Dottie, Paid in Full is the most sampled song in rap history. And definitely bar-wise. Yeah. Definitely. Like without question, unequivocally, like most quoted. And that's what I'm telling you, Mike. It might be quoted more than Lottie Dottie, maybe just not sampled as much.
Right. And for the last round, I played Fight the Power and Coop played Eric B as president. So that ended us up at 10-10.
Yep, we have a tie.
We have a tie. Man, I couldn't make any mistakes there. I don't feel like I made any mistakes. I wanted to go a 21st round to kind of break the tie, but Coop was the winner. He decided not to do that. So
no, I was going to lose, Mike. I knew what I had left. And I was like, no. We're not going to put the ball Mike in Mike's court because the tie keeps it in my court for another round.
Jay Shore with the Super Chat says, PE is the greatest speaker hip-hop group ever. Oh, yeah, man. Them shits was coming through the speakers crazy. Like I said, songs like Not Louder Than a Bomb did it too. Prophets of Rage. What's the song I was thinking about that made you play something big? It was, which one am I thinking about? Not Move the Crowd. No. Where we at? Bring the Noise. That shit comes through.
All this shit comes through. Like you was playing stuff. I told you when you played. Hold on, what was it? I'm gonna tell you exactly when I got upset. It's when. That's right. It's when you played. Yeah, when you played Bring the Noise, I was like, I've had enough of Mike already. Because by now you've already played Black Steel, Night of the Living Bassheads, Don't Believe the Hype. Like by my Uzi ways, by the time you played like Bring the Noise, I'm like, no, Mike, we about to hit you.
Well, this is the thing, and we were talking about this offline. I literally played 9 records off of It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back.
You did.
And the fact that album is that strong, where you can play 9 songs from one album to contend with another group as big as Eric B and Rakim is fucking amazing. And on your end, when you played The Rhyme Goes On, I'm like, well, shit, every single song from Paid in Full is getting played.
Every rap song,
all seven of those rap songs that's on Paid in Full got played. And it made me think, how many albums can we actually say that for? Because if we make that the standard of the greatest hip hop albums of all time, the list gets shorter.
So, Mike, I'm gonna list some albums for you. Because here's the thing: it's like I think not all albums are created differently. Because that's like I was telling you. Well, most of your greatest albums of all time, they have some sort of collaborative effort to them. It seems like It's not really like a solo mission. It's like. No, on almost none of these albums is there like one MC and one producer doing anything. And so Paid in Full and The Greatest Adventures of Slick Rick would be the outliers. But Mike, Illmatic has obviously the producer set that it has, and it has AZ. And even though, it's like you don't know who AZ is, I think we all heard AZ the first time. It's like, oh, that guy's all-time great.
Well, yeah, that was a historic feature.
The historic moment. It's one of those breathtaking rap moments. It might be the best, like, unheard of rap introduction ever from somebody who you don't know.
I would say that or Snoop Dogg on Deep Cover or something.
Yeah, it's up there.
Yeah. But,
Mike,
we're talking about Snoop Dogg.
I mean, the Purple Tape, Mike, and Enter the Wu-Tang.
Yeah.
Those are collaborative efforts. Mike, Doggy Style and The Chronic. It Takes a Nation of Millions.
Yeah.
Death Certificate. Get Rich or Die Trying. Supreme Clientele, Liquid Swords, Moment of Truth, Criminal Minded, Straight Outta Compton, Soul Food, Good Kid, Mad City, College Dropout, Life After Death, Ready to Die, The Infamous, The Low End Theory, It's Dark and Hell is Hot. It's hard to make, Aquemini, Mike, it's hard to make a great rap album, like without a lot of hands in the kitchen. It is. And so part of what makes Paid in Full so special, in my opinion, is because it's really just Eric B. and Rakim.
Right.
And I think it's the only album in that upper echelon that you can say that about. And so of all and this is, I think, why Nas and Rakim are so important. If you look at all the great rap albums and all the great rap moments that come from those albums, Illmatic and Paid in Full feel the most isolated of all the works. You know what I'm saying? Like they really feel solo on there. Right. Of all the revered works, it feels like it has the least amount of help on all sides. It feels like the artist really does have the reins, and that is probably why we hold them so high as lyricists too, is because they took the stage with about as minimal help as you'll find on a classic album. It's like, well, there ain't no niggas around. Like, how about this? It's like somebody was showing me something about how, like, when Nas recorded New York State of Mind and Memory Lane and Represent, the Primo tracks, like, he literally had the niggas walk into the booth with him, and it's like, well, yeah, it's like, but none of those dudes can rap, though. You know what I'm saying? So having them in the room is different than Dr. Dre having Daz and Corrupt and Snoop and Nate Dogg and Lady of Rage and RBX. And the DOC,
you know what? That's why Dr.
different.
Dre's product turns out so great, because it is a collective. And I was just listening to the NWA Posse album because it just, celebrated the anniversary too. And I was listening to 8 Ball, the first one. And the combination of Easy rapping, Cube writing, and Dre on the beat.
Beautiful.
And I don't even want to, I don't want to not consider Yellow and his scratches that he did on there. But when you think about that trio, that might be the best trio ever in hip hop. Like, when you talk about Easy, Cube, and Dre, that shit is crazy. When you think about it, you think about how young they were, how early they were in their careers. They were making magic out the gate.
No, I'm with you on that. Mike, I want to take a step back. I want to throw the greatest adventures of Slick Rick in that Illmatic and Paid in Full pot.
Okay.
But the rest of them just have way more help than those albums do, and so it lets you know, like, kind of like who holds up well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Ready to Die is close to being on that level to me too, because he's only got a Method Man verse, and it's really mostly just Chucky Thompson, Easy Mo Bee, and Preem. So if you want to put Ready to Die in that, I'm with that too. Like, so Illmatic, Ready to Die, Paid in Full, Greatest Adventures of Slick Rick. That's about as minimal as help as you'll find on a classic rap album. The rest of these albums are collaborative efforts. Like, Mike, as much as I love The Moment of Truth, somebody pointed out in the chat, it's like, oh, well, no, you got The Militia, you got Betrayal with Scarface, you got Make 'Em Pay with Crumb Snatcher, you got Royalty with Casey and JoJo, you got Above the Clouds with Deck. No, there's help on there, and it's viable help that you remember.
You know what I was going to say, man, and to trim the fat a little bit, when it comes to Ready to Die, you're doing the Biggie verses, you got 20 joints. How many songs from Ready to Die are you going to really be able to play?
Really? Like me?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to try to punish you, so I'm going to play Machine Gun Funk and, like, Give Me the Loot and Everyday Struggle. That's like I'm not going to play, like, all that Smash Biggie stuff. Like, I'm going to beat you up with Biggie, too. Like, I already know I got you on the hits. Like, I'm going to beat you up. And, like, so Ready to Die getting played. Unbelievable and The What are getting played, and Everyday Struggle are getting played. Like, definitely. Those 3 records, definitely. Everyday Struggle, Unbelievable, and The What are getting played.
So you're gonna go more of an underground route. Okay, I can see that.
Yeah, I might play Give Me the Loot just like if you play something hard, Mike, I'm gonna play Give Me the Loot and Who Shot You. Give me the baby rings and a #1 mom pendant. Right, like come play some hard shit.
Not no One More Chance remix.
No, that's what I'm saying, Mike. I'm already gonna do that. That's what I'm saying. It's like I got those. I got about 5 of those in the cut. It's like the rest of them just gonna bully you though. Because he's got that type of stuff. It's like, no, I'm going to play my downfall. And you're nobody till somebody kills you. And niggas bleed. Like, I'm going to beat you up with Big.
Well, that's life after death. I'm just saying, like, from one
album. Bro, that stuff, like I said, Unbelievable, Everyday Struggle, and The What would be definites for me.
Okay.
Those 3 are definites. That's 3 definites. Warning, too. I'm playing Warning, too, Mike. 4. That's 4 definites. Like, Machine Gun Funk and Give Me the Loot are kind of like those outliers. Like, do I need to bust your ass right quick? I will. I'll just
Does Ready to Die? Does Ready to Die have 9 records that you would play in the verses? Because I think we already covered even offline that on Illmatic, I would say 8 out of the 9 songs could definitely be played in the Nas verses, and nobody would be like, "Yo, you shouldn't have played that." You know what I mean?
See, that's what I'm saying. When I'm saying I got the radio friendly joints, it's like, well, I got Big Papa and Juicy in my, so you know what I mean. So I got Warning.
Mm-hmm.
I got Unbelievable. I got The What. I got Everyday Struggle. So we're 6 deep. If you, like that's what I'm saying. Like, give me the Loop, Machine Gun Funk, the actual song "Ready to Die." I told you, Mike, the actual song "Ready to Die" is some. As I grabbed the tech.
I don't think you play that in a matchup, though. You know what I'm saying? But I guess you could.
Play anything. It depends on who you got. That's what I'm saying. I can bully you around with Biggie with the hardcore gangster shit, Mike. That's what I'm saying. Like, it depends on who I'm playing. It's like, how about this, Mike? It's like, oh, no. I'd do that if it was Jay, because it's like, oh, no. I know Biggie got you on the singles. It's like, play your B-sides. Let's find out. Right.
That would be interesting. Mad Max in the super chat says,
I'd like to see more radio-friendly records if he was against Nas, because I'm like, oh, well, he's got more radio-friendly stuff than Nas. I'm going to force his hand this way.
You want to do a Jay? You want to do a Jay and Biggie one, and you get Biggie and I get Jay? That's not fair.
It's not fair to you. I'm taking Big.
Nah. I got the longevity on my side. Mad Max in the super chat.
Mike, how about this? I don't even.
Oh, let me go to the super chats. I'll let you respond. Mad Max says, "Why y'all surprised that Nas and Jay do petty stuff to each other? Nas really doesn't do that to Jay. He says they play nice with each other, but they each other's top opponent. That's MJ versus Zeke beef. Never gonna end." Shout out to Zeke and MJ.
Bro, Mike, I want to get back to this whole Biggie versus Jay thing. Like, you think because Jay's been around?
I got a lot more to choose from.
Oh, that doesn't matter, Mike.
I don't know, bro. Michael Williams with the super chat says, "Why isn't MATW held as high in regard as Illmatic, Ready to Die, 36 Chambers, Reasonable Doubt, etc.? It beats all those albums in terms of versatility, content, emotional depth. Plus, it has Dear Mama. You think that Me Against the World's better than Illmatic, Reasonable Doubt, 36 Chambers, Ready to Die? I don't, but I do think that its top moments beat the top moments of some of the other albums. I don't think it's better end to end, in my opinion.
I think he's forged a very valid and fascinating question that makes me want to listen to Me Against the World next to those albums, though. It's not better than Illmatic, and I don't think that it's better than Reasonable Doubt or Ready to Die per se, but maybe it's closer than it gets mentioned. And maybe what he's trying to say is that it deserves to be mentioned in the same breath of, and doesn't often. Yeah. And I'm guilty of that as well. So it's like, maybe we need to revisit that and really like break down it, because I told you, it's like, well, some of his best stuff is on there. Temptations, So Many Tears, Dear Mama, If I Die Tonight. Yeah.
Great records. Jay Short says, first PE album and Don't Sweat the Technique are underrated. I love the first PE album. I wanted to play more from that album, but, you know,
I want to get back to this whole Biggie and Jay thing. So,
hold on, let me get to this last super chat and we'll do that. JY says, amazing verses on Monday. I have it 11-9 Coop's way. Just tuned in. I wanted to say congrats on the repost and the listening party stream by Mass Appeal. Appreciate the love. Appreciate that. It's going to be a good time. But yeah, you want to get back to this. Born King says something. Radio and Bigger and Deafer.
LL.
Yes, sir. Oh, it's another one that I skipped. I want to make sure we get all these super chats. We got a busy show today. 36 Chambers says, is the premiere in Dilla still a thing? Yeah, but I think we kind of pushed it back for Eric Sermon and Pete Rock, right?
Right. But this whole Biggie J thing you just said, so you feel...
Jay Short said Nas versus Biggie. Nah, give me Big.
Nope.
I mean, give me Jay.
Nope. You think?
I'll take Jay.
You think you can take Big down with Jay?
I'm willing to try. I think I can. I got a lot to choose from. The man's got an incredible catalog.
Game on.
I'm down to do it.
I'm down to do it. I'm taking Big. Like,
you taking Big? Okay.
Oh yeah, easy. I already know what I want to do, Mike. I already know what I want to do.
I already know what I want to do too.
Oh, how about this? No Biggie and Jay-Z records.
We can do that. Yeah, I don't need those records. You need those records more than I do.
Why, when that's not his best stuff?
I probably wasn't even gonna play Brooklyn's Finest. Like,
You're gonna need something, Mike.
People say I'm bugging. All right, y'all tripping.
Mike. As I grab the tech, put it to your dome piece.
Man, Max in the super chat says
off release. Put it to your dome, Holmes. I want to see cabbage. Biggie Smalls the savage, doing your brain cells much damage. Teflon is the material for the Imperial. Yeah, Mike, it's about to get dark and hell is hot up in here, Mike.
Man, Max in the super chat says Me Against the World from how it starts. It starts better than Illmatic, and then it drags on at the end. So it's not Illmatic, but it's better than Ready to Die.
We'll see.
We're going to see. All right. Well, yeah, I'm down to do. I got Jay. I'm
live is better for stop this time. Live this one.
I got to be real strategic with this. Yeah. Dumb It Down says, yeah, longer career. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, so you ready to get up out of here, man?
I think we got everything covered. I mean, yeah, I think we kind of got everything covered.
I'll put the sound, the station head up again. Go out there, check it out. Download Station Head. Go to A2HH Live.
Go to our Spotify page. It's already been verified. You know what I'm saying? Pull up some playlists. I'm about to start working on some playlists to help with the streams. And maybe, and you know what, maybe, Mike, this is what I mean too, is that like, well, you know, maybe when some of our, and this is what LL was really talking about paying homage to our elders and like really treating them with the respect that they deserve. It's like, no. When these guys are rolling out albums, it's like, well, let's start giving them this type of treatment and help if they actually want it from us. You know what I'm saying? And like, I'll put up playlists about whoever. That's what I'm saying. This isn't a Nas thing. It's like next time T.I. is dropping a project like Mike Weir in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
it's
saying?
like how they used to do when,
you know what I'm saying?
It's like how they used to do on Rap City when somebody's coming out with an album. They bring them on, they talk, they spit their bars, and you know everybody was aware of the release. That's what we're losing right now in music, where people really aren't aware of the releases and people aren't making listening events a thing. And I think that's dope that Station Head does that. And yeah, we're about to take advantage of this and have a good time with it. Mad Max with a super chat before we get out of here says the whole Pac arrest record in the intro on CNN being said then and the song after is a perfect sequence. Really felt like him against the world. True. Jay Short says, hey, Poppy and Sunshine ain't taking down Big Mike. Yeah. I probably ain't
Mike is
gonna
play those records. If he does, he's in a lot of trouble. I mean, Mike, you just
got
have
a lot to choose from.
Like this is what I mean. And I feel like you did put yourself in a very, very bad place, Mike, because here's what I'm going to submit to you. Is that Jay's strengths truly are his B-sides, Mike, but there's two guys that do better B-sides. And one of them's dropping on Friday, and the other one, Picture, is on my wall. And we know he's a better hit maker. That's what I mean. It's like, no, everything Jay does, Big does, except for Big does it better. Like B-side and A-side. Like he's the better A-side and B-side artist. Like as much as I love Jay, like Mike, as much as I love Imaginary Player and Streets is Watching, that's not Who Shot You or Give Me the Loot. Don't have that fucked up.
Okay.
That's not the same thing.
Okay.
It's not Who Shot You. Oh, it's not Who Shot You. Oh, it's
Frank Wizzle says, don't play, Mike. Frank White numero uno. LP with the super chat says, I don't care what they say. Everybody wants to love.
Everybody, Mike, why we play this game? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know about you, and you and I talk about this. We're both MCs before, Mike. Like, don't tell me that you don't want to coordinate hip hop to be number one. Like, I wouldn't believe you if you told me that. It's like, oh, you don't want us to be number one, nigga? Oh, you just cool with us just kind of being here?
No.
You feel me? It's like, I wouldn't believe you. But Mike, also too, I would never want to hear that shit either. And it's like, so all this whole like, you know, like I told the plug, Mike, I mean, this is real shit. I was like, niggas think like Nas be like smoking a blunt, sitting under a tree, like philosophizing about like, it's like, no, nigga, no.
Everybody wants to win.
Get that shit out your head. Like, get that shit out your head. Everybody want to win. Like Tom Brady. Like, he be in front of the camera. Yeah, I feel like we need to do this. And he get behind the scenes and be like, you see how we whoop these motherfuckers' ass, right?
Even Kevin Durant wants to win. And shout out to Kevin Durant. I'm pretty sure he watches the show too.
I know Kevin Durant wants to win, Mike. Kevin Durant's not the problem, Mike. Kevin Durant's not the problem.
And on that note, we'll get out of here because we'll be going on and on.
You all know who the problem is. I said it over the summertime. I was like, if they don't get rid of him, it's going to be very problematic for them.